When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Where'd you send those notes?
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Maconi Entertainment, and welcome back to the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series. This is race number 22 of the 2025 season, coming to you today from Iowa. My name is Ron Mullins. Alongside me in the commentary booth is Jeremy Briggs. Howie Burrows is our producer for tonight's broadcast. Well, Jeremy, we head off to what is, in my view, incidentally enough, one of my favorite racetracks in all of American racing. I've been here multiple times in person, which is a little bit odd considering I'm a Philadelphian, but I absolutely love this track. Ever since the lady who runs the gift shop on the outside of the place, as of about 9 years ago, gave me a whole bunch of free merchandise when I visited here as a kid, I absolutely adore Iowa. And this track as well is a rather unique ride in the world of motorsports. I'm really expecting, I guess we could probably say, a unique race here this evening.
It's definitely a different shape of a track. As you can see in the corners, it has a little bit of fresh pavement in there for this round here at this 0.88 mile track. We'll do about 220 miles here tonight. This is going to be a race of keeping the cars on the track for sure. Right now, track temperature is over 120 degrees.
Yeah, so a track temperature is hot enough to fry an egg heading off through the blacktop through 1 and 2. I can imagine we are going to be in for a race where these drivers definitely have some challenges on their hands. And it's part of an absolutely fantastic run that we have until the end of the regular season and the start of the playoffs. Just going through the past couple of weeks, we went to the Chicago Street Course, then Sonoma, then Dover, then Indy. Of course, Iowa here tonight. Watkins Glen, Daytona, Portland, and Gateway remain in a championship battle that is looking very tight for those final few spots inside of the playoffs. You can already see 8 drivers locked in. Bryson Ixenball got his 7th win last time out at Indy, so congratulations to him. While these drivers, though, that's outside of the playoff or maybe just barely in, looking to win here at Iowa tonight. Hunter Truex, top of the drivers, currently locked in at 116 points above the cut line. Jim Shoefield slotted in 10th, only 22 up. Then we get into that tight race. You've got Mark Padgett currently in P11. Kirk Mills above the cut line, tied on points with Eric Wineland. So we have still got a very intense championship battle on our hands. Tim Phillips, Tanner Marty, and Kyle Amon a little bit farther out. They're probably looking to win their way into the playoffs over the next couple of weeks instead of pointing their way in, unless, hell can freeze over, even though it is boiling hot here tonight. So Jeremy, we've got a lot on stakes heading into this race. So I have a feeling these racers, as much as they have challenges out there on the racetrack, I feel like there's got to be a little bit more that's riding in certain drivers' minds.
Ron, one little slip up and it can almost end your championship hopes when these races are just winding down. It's just so close to that regular season finale, and one of those drivers that are behind the cut line winning their way in could really shake up this evening's standings, and we'll have to see how it plays out with the way this track is. As you can see, drivers in practice got their hands full, and I have a feeling that it's going to be the case here all night long. And like I said, just one little slip up and that could potentially end your championship hopes.
Yeah, this is going to be a treacherous race for these drivers. There's no question or shadow of a doubt about it. Quickly running through the race information here for this evening's race. To kick off the month of August here on Maconi Entertainment, 250 laps long is the race length. Stage breaks going to come at the end of lap 60 and lap 20. Not the start of those laps, the very end of those laps. 5 tire sets allotted to these racers, so that'll be the ones they start with. Then 4 tire changes throughout this evening's action. And then as per usual here in the FLC World 17X, that regular 17X disqualification limit. We haven't seen that rear its ugly head in quite some time, albeit it has been a little while since we went to a track that was below a mile in length. Really going through, I think the last time that we were at a bona fide short track would, I would say, probably be Rockingham on April the 18th. Rockingham, sort of similar to this track in terms of layout, in terms of length, and in terms of everything. As we look at these as we look at that, I was about to say, these cars, as much as there are some Fords in this field, it's not exactly the Fords that you can catch on Mondays here on Maconi Entertainment, although that racing action is also incredible, and you can catch that here if you hit the subscribe button. But here we go, taking a look at this evening's starting grid. It'll be Adam Benefield starting this race from the pole position. Bryson Nickerson-Ball set to join him on the front row, 10 wins between them, and they'll be making up row number 1. Eddie Rose will start this race in third, alongside Joseph McWhorter, the Pocono winner, starting in P4. Looking right behind them on the third row, the starting grid will be Charles Velasquez Jr. and Cody Goza. And then looking right behind them on row number 4 for this evening's race, it will be Nick Stein starting this race in 7th in the number 59 machine, and Edward Scherer Jr., rather impressive driver from the past couple of weeks, rounding out your 4th row. And then running out our top 10 for tonight's race will be Kyle Amon and Eric Wineland.
And just outside that top 10 and 11th starting position, you got Hunter Truel. And on the 12th starting spot, you got the number 78 of Connor Cunningham. And then the number 13 starting spot, you got the 91 of Raymond Root. In the 14th starting position, you got the 06 of Matthew Boston Wheeler. In the 15th starting position, you got the number 47 of Jim Schofield. In the 16th starting position, you got the number 29 of Tanner Marty. In the 17th starting position, you got the number 42 of Mason Lowry. In the 18th starting position, you got the number 16 of Nate Pollard. In the 19th starting position, you got the 75 of Charles Eaton. And rounding out our top 20 is the 00 of Brayton Round.
And looking through the rest of the drivers that we have, just barely outside of the top 20, the list continues on with Noah Wood starting this race in the number 68 car in 21st. Nolan Hodgson joining him on that 11th row. Kirk Mills will start this race in P23, our Maconi Entertainment colleague, alongside Cameron Stone, Brandon Hastings, Austin Evie starting this race in 25th and 26th. Michael Pratchett and Tim Phillips in 27th and 28th. Rounding out our top 30 will be Jason Taylor and Daniel Lawallen. Should be noted, Taylor is one of the series admins. Michael Deach starting in 31st. Steve Benjamin in 32nd. And then looking right behind, it's Cody Byrne and Ken Ron starting this race in P33, and 44th. And Rory Collins will round out your 35-car grid here for this evening's race. 250 laps long. A challenge for these racers for sure. And as we have the cars lining up on this formation lap here, Jeremy, final thoughts before we kick off what's definitely going to be an intriguing night of racing for sure.
Whew, I tell you what, my heart rate is kind of getting up with 34 cars on the track. Man, this is one heck of a sight to see. It's exciting to be here. This is my first time watching this. This is going to be great to see up here from the broadcast booth.
Now, I'll tell you what, as someone who's gotten the opportunity and the privilege to cover this series ever since it got started here on Maconi Entertainment back in early April, welcome aboard for the ride here, Jeremy. We have got another fantastic race, some more tension in the air as we near the start of the playoffs and get to the end of the regular season, and this race about to begin just a couple of moments on that pace car down pit lane. The green flag is out, and the drivers are on their way. Benefield gets off to a good start. Hicksonball a little bit sluggish on that outside line, but they had their way side by side into 1 and 2. Looks like Benefield gonna get the jump early.
Benefield, the teammate to Hicksonball. Drivers have been pretty stellar this season. We'll look no further. Eddie Rose right there in second, trying to keep his nose right on the back bumper of Benefield. We've got a yellow on the track.
The yellow coming at us. I believe there may have been some drama heading all through 3 and 4. You can see some drivers very slow, albeit the yellow has been out for quite some time, so that could be part of the reason why that is the case. Nolan Hodgson got a piece of that drama. You can see him now finally getting his car back up and rolling as he heads his way through 3 and 4, and I don't believe he was alone. I believe Connery Cunningham in the number 78 car may have gotten a piece of this action as well. Let's take a look. It's a bump from the 57 of Stone to the back of the 12. More contact being made as he gets tapped around into the outside wall. he's going to go. A nice little reminder here, this was the first ever track in the racing world to have safer barriers on an oval installed as standard. No concrete barrier on the outside there, but it's going to be a tap into the wall for the number 12, neutralizing this race very early on, Jeremy. These racers have another start to contend with, and after how that first one went, I have a feeling this restart may get a little bit kooky.
Yeah, if I was a driver in the field right now, I definitely would like to get some green flag racing because there's so many cars in the field and it's definitely tight, as you can see right there. Some of the drivers that were kind of in the back of the field getting kind of tied up in that incident have to get that damage fixed. I believe those drivers are on pit road getting it taken care of, and we'll see how they can do get the damage fixed and see how the rest of the night goes. Like we said, 250 laps is the distance. Happening early on, they could get on pit road and get all that damage tidied up as much as they can here with the iRacing pit crews.
Yeah, so clearly some of these drivers have not skimped out on their crew's Red Bull dosage trying to repair the race cars all throughout this evening's racing action. A reminder to those who haven't tuned into this series before, speaking about some of the permutation, so to speak, when it comes to the yellows. 3 green-white checkered attempts will be allotted to these competitors, but no fast repair. So if you get damage, you're going to have to beat those bumpers out and beat those fenders out there on the road. Take that time down pit lane. So an early setback like that for the likes of the number 12 really going to hurt you at this point of the race. Cameron Stone also down pit lane. You can see 38.7 seconds stopped in the pit stall. Very long stop for him. We saw him getting involved in that drama. I would not be too shocked if, as a result of that second bit of contact with himself and the 12, potentially picked up a little bit of wheel damage as well. I mean, that was a very odd angle for that second bit of contact to take place, so would not be too shocked if that front right is feeling rather sad on the 57 car.
And only 5 sets of tires. You definitely want to make sure that right front is fixed up as much as you can because you don't want to burn it off and blowing them out every 20 laps. So hopefully they can get that damage taken care of enough to get ready to go back to racing. As the field is pacing around, I believe we should be getting ready to come to the one to go.
I believe we will potentially get this race restarted in the not too far off future. Looking at the lights on the pace cars, we head our way down that start finish not so straight away across the line. Looks like we will be getting this race restarted. It will be 5 laps completed, a decent number of which have already been under yellow after that early moment down into turns number 3 and 4. But we're about to get this race back up and rolling here, Jeremy. That first initial start, that was rather hectic, but now that these racers have a slight idea as to how it's going to be here this night with those hot track conditions, we may end up seeing some racers throw even more of haymakers at each other.
Yeah, these extremely tight corners, when you get other drivers, checking up into the corners, it's kind of like a slinky effect, and those cars farther in the back, if you're not too familiar with your braking points with traffic in front of you, you might make a mistake and get that driver in front of you, and you saw that here early on as we're coming to the green.
Yeah, about to get this race up and rolling and ready to rock. The first restart this evening. It's going to be 6 laps already completed when these drivers come around to take this green as we're back up and racing. A very good restart there from Adam Benefiel on the high side. He's got to jump out to a comfortable gap, but they wreck behind. Huge crash as they head their way down into the green, and that is going to be another yellow coming out. Someone missed a gear. I was so preoccupied with Benefiel getting off to a flyer that I didn't see about 5 cars flying farther behind.
Definitely going to check at this replay here as we have another incident here early on. We'll see what happened. Got a great, I don't know if we want to call this the drone cam. Looks like we're closer than what a blimp would be. Looking on that, right there, right at the start finish line. I couldn't tell if the car missed the shift.
Certainly looked like it. We may need to take a look at another replay here to see exactly all the drama that took place, because I mean that was a whole lot of stuff going on there as they went to try and grab this restart. It's a very abridged restart, so we are back under yellow as a result of that bit of drama. Let's take a look at this as they head their way off onto the line. Very slow there in the back, and yeah, just not going at all. The 81 car getting pile driven from behind. More drama. I think that may have been Hodgson got involved in that incident as well. You can see the 39 of Collins getting a piece of that action as well. So very rough start, shall we say, here to this race at Iowa.
Get another good shot right here. Yeah, I think he went in the wrong gear because you'll see his rear tires kind of like lock up and not going straight anymore. And that is going to do it there for Hastings here tonight.
Yeah, I can imagine that that transmission, the gears in it, have probably been turned into a fine mesh paste as a result of that drama. That is, yeah, I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that that is not the right strategy of how to pull off a good restart here at Iowa. His transmission and everybody else collected in that drama can certainly attest to that. But we're now 8 laps into this race. We have gone about, I would say, on the whole, we've gone about 5/8 of a lap under green on the first try, and then another 1, 2. So probably about 7/8 of a lap being completed under green. Most of them being spent under yellow. And that drama down to 3 and 4 have a bit of drama on the restart. So keeping our fingers crossed that this next restart we have coming up will see less missed shifts, less pile driving from behind, and hopefully settle this race into some sort of groove, which around a tough racetrack like this can be really important to just get into a swing of things.
I know one driver that would really like some green flag racing is the leader of Benefield right there. Yeah. He's had some really good starts so far this race, and he's not been able to really put it to work with these cautions coming out here quickly. I believe we should be coming to the 1 to green as the cars look like, yep, that front row is getting double file, so hopefully we see the pace car lights extinguished here shortly.
Yeah, so those lights are going to be out on that iRacing pace car. About to get this race back up and rolling here in about 1 lap's time. And a reminder to all of you tuning into this broadcast on Maconi Entertainment this evening, you can catch all of the action from the rest of the season here from the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series weekend and week out Friday evenings here exclusively on Maconi Entertainment. If you're enjoying this racing, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so don't miss out on any of it. And also hit the like button on this broadcast as well if you're really feeling so generous to do so. But now we see them head their way down the back stretch. The field has been shaved a little bit. I've already seen some racers drop out because of issues, but keeping our fingers crossed that we'll get off to another good restart and settle into a groove. These racers certainly looking to do that. You can see the flag man holding that green flag up in the air, waiting to get this race restarted. 10 laps already completed. About 7/8 of a lap have been under green, the rest under yellow, but we're back up and rolling here at Iowa. A fantastic restart once again from Benefield. They look clean a little bit farther behind. Eddie Rose slot in P2, and look at that 3-wide action. They head their way down to turn number 1. Look at that. That was Bryson Hicksaball getting shipped up the track by the 73, his own teammate there, Joseph McWhorter.
Sorry about that. I thought Hicksaball was about to get spun out right there in that number 63 bright green machine. Man, they were trying to drive it in there hard into turn 1 and 2, and luckily Hicksaball able to hold it on there, but lost a couple spots in the meantime. Looks like he'll be able to clear the number 96 and 10 here of Cody Gaza and Edward Shearer Jr.
Yeah, Shearer Jr., he's been very impressive over the past couple of weeks. Let's see if he'll finally be able to break through and do well here at Iowa. But as we look to see Benefield still holding on to the race lead, the drama going on behind Rose, though, with a black flag. You can see that P next to his name, and that's not just because he has to use the bathroom. A penalty for Eddie Rose. Not sure how he picked that up, but he certainly has. It's given P2 to Charles Velasquez Jr., another one of the Team Conti racers. So that will be a Team Conti P1 and P2, but there's Rose making that call to come down pit lane. That's a real kick in the shins for the driver, the number 46. A fantastic qualifying effort and a really good effort thus far in this race, but things going to all fall to Naz. He drops down like a stone.
I'm taking a look at it, see if Eddie Rose will stay on the lead lap as the leaders are coming out of turns 3 and 4. As he's just coming off the exit of pit road. Here comes the leaders into 1 and 2.
Yeah, will he be able to stay on the lead lap? Let's see if Eddie Rose will be able to get out in front. He does, but he's going to be a sitting duck with cooler tires compared to that field, coming in with a whole head of steam. But Rose, I believe how he picked that up potentially was because of a restart violation. We saw that in single foul out before they hit that start-finish line. That's a big no-no to iRacing's eyes. So I think that may have been the reason why that 46 has picked up this. I wouldn't say it's a game-ending night, but it is certainly a game-altering moment.
There's a long ways to go now there for Eddie Rose. Still in the lead lap in the 29th position. We got some heavy battling throughout the field here towards the back. Ken Ron and Kirk Mills are battling side by side there for momentarily. Then we got, Cody Bird and Ken Ra almost had some contact. So heavy racing going on. Eddie Rose definitely needs that caution to come out.
Yeah, I think Eddie Rose at this point is keeping his fingers crossed and praying to whatever divine entity he prays to that there will be a yellow coming out in the not too far off future. Although I will say this is the longest green flag run we've had up to this point by quite a significant margin, pushing lap 18 now, still very early on into this race. A reminder, folks, the end of lap 60 will be the end of stage number 1 here this evening, so still plenty of time left to go. If Eddie Rose wants to remain in this fight, he better keep his fingers crossed that a yellow comes out either now or he can continue to hold on to the pace that he's holding on to right now. He's pulling away from the 83 of Benefiel, but the 83 of Benefiel is slowly but surely, I feel, falling into the crutches of McWhorter right behind. Now, we flash back a couple of weeks ago to the race at Pocono where Joseph McWhorter was able to grab his first victory of this season, but it came in rather controversial fashion right towards the end as a moment with himself and Benefiel really irked Benefiel. He was not quite happy about how things shook out for him, as he was at that point in time still looking for his 3rd win this season. He was of course able to get a couple of weeks later at Dover, but still that was not a very good moment. So if we start to see a fight between those two, even though it's been quite some time since that race up at Pocono, we may see tempers potentially raise up as we take a look now at some battling involving Cody Goza, this hornet's nest of cars with Goza, Stein, Hunter Truel in the 71 car, now trying to make a move on the 59, but that was big stuff as he had his way out there. Stein against the wall, a game of bumper cars as they had their way into 4.
Looks like Stein might have got a little sideways off of turn 4, but unfortunately there was a car on his inside. Let's get a look at this Maconi Entertainment replay. Yeah, he was loose off of 4, and there was a car on his inside and just doored him, and unfortunately it's going to drop him back there to the 10th position. Was in the top 5. We got a yellow on the track. I mean, Schofield's involved.
I think Jim Shoefield, yeah, clearly with some damage on that race car. Something must have gone down. Is it by himself? I have a feeling it may not have been, based off the fact that he was involved in a hornet's nest of a pack. Makes contact with the 10 in front, then the 03 of Austin Evie really just finishes off the job. Nothing that Evie could have really done in all that. I think that was just about self-inflicted there for Jim Shoefield, for lack of a better phrase, but that is going to bring out the 3rd yellow already this evening. Comes not terribly long into this race. We haven't even hit lap 25, not even a 10th of the way into this race, and we've already had 3 yellows.
Looks like slight contact there. Nothing too serious for damage-wise, just really upset tires. One driver, though, that I know is really happy for this yellow is going to be that number 46, Eddie Rose. So that's one of the drivers getting that penalty on that restart. Will now get caught up to the rear of the field and not go a lap down.
Yes, I think Eddie Rose is probably one of only a few drivers that I feel is quite happy about this yellow coming out. One driver that may be happy about it, though, is actually going to be your race leader of Benefiel, because I will say that gap was starting to drop down between himself and the 73 of McWhorter. So, and I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. I mean, obviously, still very early on into this race. We haven't had a real representative green flag run at this point, so we basically only know how these cars do in the incredibly short runs that we've had right now. So I'm not sure how much we should read into that number 83 of Benefiel dropping down as we went about that latest green flag run, but I would certainly keep tabs on it all throughout tonight. But there's a 46 of Eddie Rose. He's going to be well farther in the back, so he does have to make his way up through the field and avoid any falling anvils that come with it, but he's still in a far better position than he was a matter of about 5 minutes ago.
Couple drivers towards the back here, taking some stops. You can see Stein, I believe, one of the drivers had contact with the wall. He's probably on there for damage repairs. There's some drivers taking adjustments, as if you are new like I am here tonight. This is open setups, so drivers can go down the road and just make wedge adjustments if needed. Track bar, you name it. air pressure if they decide to change tires. Like I said, only 5 sets. They got to go 250 laps. Only 25 laps in. You don't want to burn them all up too early. You want to have enough for the end. As those drivers were down there getting taken care of. Looks like everybody stayed on the lead lap that was down on pit road getting repairs.
So already starting to see some racers make that call to come down pit lane. Of course, some extenuating circumstances as to why that was the case. I think some of them certainly come down to repair some damage. Others just trying to throw something at the wall to see what sticks. I will say, though, and I hope he doesn't take offense to this since he is one of our colleagues here at Maconi Entertainment, and a very nice guy as well. But Kirk Mills looking to have a good night, and the spots that he was running in a little bit earlier on, not really going to give him that this evening. So looking to try and make up some time and be there in a good spot in about 225 laps time. Still a long way left to go here this evening on Maconi Entertainment. Adam Benefield leads over McWhorter, over Charles Velasquez Jr. and Bryson Nixonball, who will make up row 2 on this restart. About to get back up and rolling in 1 lap's time here, Jeremy, and as we are still in the early stages of this, I want to raise this. You know, we talked about the track temp a little bit earlier on. I think that's still going to be a huge factor throughout this race.
I believe so, and I was watching a couple of drivers. Now we got some of the green flag racing going on. It looked like they were definitely starting to maybe have some of those handling issues. Starting to get a little loose there, as you saw the Stein machine get a little sideways off forward and smack the car that was inside and grab the wall. He grabbed repairs, so you know these tires are having a lot of cycles on them now, coming to green.
Yeah, about to get this race restarted one more time, and it's Benefield up at the front as he usually has been in this race. A green flag is back at him. Benefield getting off to a good one. That inside line period getting off to a flyer. Charles Velasquez Jr. now looking to jump into P2. He's side by side with Joseph McWhorter for that P2 spot as they head their way down the back stretch. Look at the 64 trying to ship it down the inside. Get this move to stick. Will it stick, though? I have a feeling it may be a little bit tense, but it's going to be McWhorter coming out as the beneficiary and all of that. Benefield, though, he's holding on to the race lead. 3 wides, they had their way down into 1 and 2. Look at Matthew Boston Wheeler at the epicenter of that, John, with himself, Kyle Amon, and Eric Wineland. Those two looking to try and contend for a playoff spot.
Haven't had a lot of green flag racing, but we are closing on halfway through this stage, and just a few more laps. Trying to get as many positions as these drivers can get throughout the field, especially in that top 10 with having so many yellows. You want to pounce as quick as you can. Drivers maybe being a little bit aggressive here earlier on in the first part of these restarts.
Yeah, we're starting to see these two drivers squabble up at the front of the field. Benefield and McWhorter trying to bring the action at the early stages of this race. Now officially at the halfway mark for stage number 1. Benefield over McWhorter, over Charles Velasquez Jr. We look at these battles a little bit farther behind. The Eric Wineland one with Kyle Amon. That certainly has my interest. Wineland involved in that very close battle for the final few spots inside the playoffs. Looking to try and battle, scrape and claw for every single spot that he can. Flashback to a couple of weeks ago, he was looking rather good, but he's missed out in the past few weeks. That's part of the reason why the number 87 finds himself in the pit of worry that he's in right now, getting to the end of the regular season. Still on the inside, the 06 and Matthew Boston Wheeler, who's wheeling it on the high side as these two racers continue to battle. It's bad news for the number 87 as Kyle Amon starting to drive off into the sunset.
Number 87 and Weiland is doing a really good job wrapping that bottom. I believe he's going to get that pass made. Should looks like the 06 of Wheeler still doing a great job of staying on that right rear quarter panel. There we go. Looks like Weiland's finally going to make that pass. It's definitely hurting his tires. You can see him getting a little bit of sideways a couple times, trying to really push the gas and try to make that pass on the inside, and it can really chew your tires up quicker than you want to, especially with these drag temperatures. Looking at drag temperature right now, it's cooled down. I think we started at 124. Oh boy.
No, Hunter Truel trying to wheel it down the inside. The 06 of Matthew Boston Wheeler side by side down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Look at that 71 car trying to make it work. He gets it done, clears the 06 of Wheeler as he heads his way out of turn number 4. The 71 though of Truel licking the stamp and it's still not over yet. Contact being made. Cameron Stone now trying to sneak a wheel or 2 or 3 or 4 down the inside the 06 of Wheeler. That could have been disaster between the 06 and the 71, but now the 57 looking for a piece of that drama as well.
Look at that 71's line. He might have found something running just about a half car length up on everybody else and made that pass look very easy. We'll see how his march continues towards the front of the field.
Still marching his way up towards the front, trying to find any way in the book to get past his competitors. Cameron Stone, the 57 car, started this race on a somewhat sour note as a result of that drama with himself in the 12 down into this exact same section, turn number 3 and 4. But he's holding on to a good spot right now, firmly inside the top 10 because he has a pretty significant gap between himself and P11 of Nathaniel Pollard. But right now, we are still paying attention to this battle up at the front. Benefield and McCorder covered by about a tenth and a half as they had their way out of 1 and 2. McCorder's been keeping the number 83 of Benefield honest. As much as he hasn't been able to get a move done, he has been keeping him honest. We have not seen that number 83 car really be able to kick back his feet and relax. He has just been constantly having to push it, constantly trying to run quick, but I feel like it's a losing battle. That number 83 at Benefield, I'm just not seeing enough in the longer runs of this race, but you know, maybe that could be a good thing. We've seen the drama in the early stages. If we get to some green-white checker territory and that number 83 is up at the front, he may be unstoppable if his car is only good in the short run.
That's one thing these drivers are going to have to worry about later on in this race is if we do get a lot of cautions, what adjustments you need to make so you have a car on a quick run on the short runs. Benefield stretched it out just a little bit right there his last couple laps. Or McWhorter.
You know, that right there, folks, is the immediate commentator shinks. As soon as I was like, you know what, Adam Benefield starting to drop down, McWhorter's going to reel him back in, that's when the gap balloons out to about a half a second. So, you know what? It's just a canon event as a commentator. You say, oh yeah, this is going to happen, and then the iRacing gods throw a complete curveball your way and say, ha, screw you, and it's going to be the complete opposite. So that's what's going on at the front. Benefield now starting to pull away as we're about now 20 laps away from the end of stage number 1. Of course, that stage 1 break going to come at the end of lap number 60 as we look at a battle now going to flare up potentially with the number 63 of Bryson Ixenball, the number 96 of Cody Goza. First time we see the number 96 of Cody Goza really be up in a spot like this, and he's we've got the spotlight on him for a very good reason. Running in P5, he's trying to challenge Ixenball, but at 7 wins has been the dominant driver throughout this season. Got that fuel mileage victory last time out at Indianapolis, and despite the fact that he burned it down on the bricks and made me hiss and sneer like an irate cat, he's still a very good driver. So the fact that Cody Goza keeping with him, very, very good sign for his race.
Right now, looking at lap times, Benefield and Hixenbaugh, only drivers running down to 25.4s. Everybody else is 25.5s. So those two drivers are the ones to keep an eye on right now.
Ooh, as you can see, this battle really starting to flare up between the 03 and the 46. They've been duking it out for a little bit now. They're side by side as they head their way through turn number 3 and 4. That's the battle right now for P13. Lucky number P13, Evie! Yeah! Oh boy, that could have ended in disaster. As he heads his way out of turn number 4, about as cranked over to the side as his steering wheel could have been. Eddie Rose, I think the only reason why that 03 car didn't completely loop around, he saved him there. I think that 46, the side of his car, may be a little bit sadder as a result of that contact, but hey, we didn't see the 03 spin off into the grass and probably whack a wall, so we're under green, and the main reason why is just because of that number 46 of Eddie Rose scything his way through the field at the moment. Bearing in mind, folks, he started this race solidly up at the front, was running in P2 when he picked up a restart penalty and had to drop down because of a penalty that he had to serve, and ever since then he's been able to make his way up to the front. He's put on a good drive at the moment. Let's still keep tabs on him. But we got a battle right now for P3. It's Charles Velasquez Jr. in the 64 versus Bryson Hixenball in the 63. And there's the 63 moving up into P3 over the 64, now in P4.
Pretty easy pass there. Here later in this run, we've had some solid green flag laps. Drivers starting to come and go. Drivers starting to wear tires out. Drivers that were saving maybe earlier in this run now finally getting to put the hammer down as the stage is winding down. About just under 15 laps left in this stage. Hixenbaugh's got it set on the 73. You look up front, Benefield, he's got a 1.5, 1.6 second lead and growing. Let's see what Hixenbaugh can do here on the 73, and then we'll see what those times look like, because Hixenbaugh is the driver on the move.
Yeah, Bryson Hixenball finally starting to make up those gains. I think his car definitely the best in the long run of the ones up towards the north end of the field. So let's keep eyes on him. Let's keep eyes on all of these racers in this little camera shot that we've got right now. The one driver who's certainly not in it is Adam Benefield, as he's pulled a 1.8 second gap between himself and the quarter. Only about 13 laps, lucky number 13 laps away from the end of this stage. But we're going to have a yellow potentially. Very slow, heading his way down the back straight away. We remain green as we cut to this replay to see Nick Stein, Tokyo drifting his way through 1 and 2, balancing on that beam, and bang, contact being made with himself in the 07 of Daniel Lawal, and that fires that 59 car up into the wall, and you could see just grinding to a halt there. I believe, unless I'm very much mistaken, the 59 of Stein picked up a meatball as a result of all that contact, but we are still green. As we are under green, let's look at the green car of Bryson Hixenball. Happy about these green flag runs, not just because it matches the color of his race car. He's now really handing the back of the 73 of McWhorter.
Whew, you can see he's just losing the handling just a little bit. Trying to figure out a way to get around that 73. You look just in front of these drivers. That's a lap car going to the top, trying to stay out of their way. Early on in this, later run into this stage, got the lap traffic in the way, and that could potentially hurt this battle right here for Hixenbaugh, as we're 10 laps to go in this stage. Definitely got that right rear hanging out on the exits now. He's maybe using stuff up a little bit too much here.
Yeah, I feel like everybody is running on the ragged edge of control. The tire is probably screaming in agony at this point. Hot track conditions, and a track which, I mean, you can see with your own two eyes. This is not a smooth racing surface at all. You can see those bits of blacktop added in, and of course the wonderful people at iRacing doing the work over the past couple of seasons to update some of these tracks here on the iRacing platform. Iowa just being one of the latest. But outside of those bits of blacktop, this is still the original surface from when this track opened back in 2006, and you can certainly tell that the surface is about 18 years old, because there are many points around this racetrack where it feels like you're driving over a sinking swamp.
A sinking swamp. That's the best way to put us. All this lap car right here is going to put these drivers side by side for this battle. I believe that's going to be Matthew Boston Wheeler and Eddie Rose. Eddie Rose, one of the drivers, like we said, fell back because of that penalty. Man, he is making it look easy. Slicing and dicing. Going through right here with Hunter Truel on the outside. That's not a lap car. This is for the final stage point right here, with the laps winding down.
Yes, I'm starting to see these racers begin to throw haymakers at each other as that end of stage one begins to near. It's getting close in these drivers' windscreens with every single passing lap, and that's why we're seeing the number 46 go down the inside of the 06. That's Matthew Boston Wheeler and Eddie Rose starting to battle. We jump back to the action there. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. Here's the racing for P5. It's Kyle Amon and Cody Goza side by side, and look at the 87 right there. That's Eric Wineland. Amon and Wineland involved in that very close points battle heading into this race. Wineland the first driver out, and we really got to think about how this is all going to work out at the end of the stage. Amon, he wants to get into the playoffs, and he really needs to do that with either a brilliant series of runs or he needs to go into victory lane. We're starting to see the handling of these cars begin to fall away as well. That 63 of Hixenball was oh so sideways as he headed his way out of 4.
Oh, so sideways. But he's got himself to the outside here. McWhorter trying to make that pass happen. Like I said, he does a really good job, and he's just going to blow right by him here. He's going to make that pass clean. P2, Grayson Hixenbaugh. We go back here to P7, Goza, Stone, Wineland, Ammon. This is for 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Wineland trying to capitalize on a lot of stage points here with Kirk Mills, who he's battling for that final spot, not even in a stage points spot as we speak.
Yeah, these racers, though, in this 4-car train chugging their way around this track. Holy cow, Cody goes a mega sideways out of 4, and here comes Wineland on Eamon down the inside into 1 and 2, trying to wheel it, trying to run that white line on that bottom. The 87, though, going to keep that momentum rolling. Cameron Stone also there, some assistance to the 17. They're side by side again down the back stretch, booking it through into that spot is going to be Eric Wineland. Now Eamon has to withstand the pressure from the 57. They were working together, kind of, to head their way down the back straightaway. That truce, whatever it may have been, has now been snapped. My apologies there, folks. Getting to the end of this stage, Adam Benefiel on track for a dominating stage 1 victory with a 3-second gap to himself and Bryson Hixenbaugh. Looking at this battle, though, for 5th, it is still on between Wineland, Stone, and Eamon. Cody Goza dropping down like a stone thrown into a pond as Cameron Stone, the meat of that sandwich as it stands right now, close to try and make a move done on Wineland, but running out the opportunity to do so. At the front of the field, though, Adam Benefiel taking it easy, running on the bottom. He may be out of gas. Why is he very slow? That or he's trying to give me a panic attack here in the broadcast booth. Now 1.2 seconds at the end of this, heading his way onto that quad oval, and here is the stage 1 victory for Adam Benefiel. Bryson Hixenbaugh slotted in P2, only 1 second back at the end of that stage. Not really sure what was going on there. McWhorter finishes in 3rd. We're going to take a look at the top 10 here at the end of a very dramatic stage 1. Lots of yellows baked into it. I think Adam Benefiel was trying to give me a panic attack on this broadcast, which is why he was slowing down. And that's the reason why it was only 1.1 seconds at the end of it between himself and Bryson Hixenbaugh.
I believe he was trying to give a couple of those drivers a lap back, or not lead them a lap down there towards the end of that stage. I believe he was just doing a couple favors. As you see the top 10 results there after 60 laps. Stage 1 complete. A lot of drivers capitalizing on those stage points. Field will get caught up to the pace car. Once they do that, we'll get ready to bring them down pit road. See who's going to make some changes and some adjustments, as we saw a lot of those drivers falling back throughout the field. At the later run of that stage, though, we got a pretty good run of green flag laps. You see there Ken Rain, he is the lucky dog recipient here this time.
Ken Ron on the high side, he's going to get the free pass under this yellow, but here we go. The drivers making that call to come down pit lane. They're led by the 83, the dominant driver at this point of the race of Adam Benefiel. You can see Bryson Hixenbaugh slide right behind Joseph McWhorter, completing that front trio of cars, making the call to come down pit lane. Pretty much everybody in this field, with only a couple of exceptions a little bit farther behind. I believe those may have been lapped down cars, though. I think there is no sense in staying out during this yellow. These tires absolutely worn down to the canvas. These racers looking to hit their marks. There's the 46 of Eddie Rose. He put on a triumphal drive during that first stage to make his way back up to the front after that penalty that he had to overcome up on the jacks. All of these racers are going to go. There's the 83 of Benefiel. It's going to be the 63 of Hixenbaugh right behind the 73 of McWhorter. Rounds at your top 3. There's Charles Velasquez Jr. slotted in 4th. So that's how it looks at the end of the pit cycle, and that's 63 laps into this race.
We'll see who maybe made the right or wrong adjustment this time on pit road. But I'm sure a lot of drivers that were falling back are happy to get those 4 fresh Goodyears and make another charge here in this second stage. And
oh boy, wow, that may have been the most tragic voice crack I've ever had on the air. That right there, folks, is a sign that I've done 242 broadcasts up to this point this year. So Oh boy! I will say though, touching on the early incident that we had, thank you, Howie, for the sound effects there in the production truck. The moment that we saw for the 81 of Brandon Hastings, getting an official word that that was a shifter problem. Very apologetic to all the drivers in the general chat here in the Friday Night Lights Full Length Challenge Discord server. It's tough. I mean, I've had shifter moments like that. A good little story for all of you as we are under this yellow, about to get restarted here in hopefully a couple of laps time. I still run on an old Logitech G920 wheel and shifter on a really crappy Chinese aluminum built sim rig that my dad bought back in 2018, I think it was. This sim rig has been with me a very long time. It has done me very well, and I'm very grateful that my dad got it for me many moons ago. But the other shifter, one time I was running a spec Miata around Lime Rock. I tried to go from, I tried to go from third, no, I'm trying to think. I tried to go from fourth into third, and in the process of that, the entire shifter just went forward with me as I was trying to go down a gear. So, believe me, I've been there when it comes to shifter issues. Very unfortunate, and hopefully no one throws any shade towards it, because I mean that's tough. You know, it's sim racing. That's the sort of stuff that you get here. It's mechanical failure stuff happens. But you know, with all the sim rig stories and everything left in our rear view mirror, we can look ahead to this second stage, running to the end of lap 120. We got some drivers looking to gain some more points, some drivers looking to settle this race into a groove. Stage 1 was hectic. Let's see what stage 2 brings as we're back up and rolling here at Iowa Benefield, getting off to a flyer of a restart. Same can be said about the 64 of Velasquez Jr. It's not going to be a side-by-side fight with himself and Hicksonball for P2.
Bill, that side-by-side battle there for P2. Looking right there is McWhorter, trying to maybe pick and choose what lane's going to work better for him. We still got 28 cars in the lead lap, 28 cars still with a chance to win.
At this point, I mean, with how much drama we've already had in this race, you can't really rule anything out. I would say that's a rather fair assessment to give at this point in the race. We'll say Hicksonball dropping down. In the short runs, that number 63 car is... I would best compare, holy cow, that was a big sideways snap from Charles Velasquez Jr. as he had his way out of turn number 4, but no, that's 63 of Hicksonball, about as slow as a drop of molasses running off a frozen roof on these short runs. So once we get into the longer runs, we will start to see that 63 start to gain some speed, but at this point it's just a matter of managing the bleeding, make sure you don't bleed out at the front of the field, otherwise you are going to drop down like an anvil push out of a helicopter.
Side by side for the lead.
Yes, side by side at the front. Look at McWhorter trying to rip it around the high side on the 83 of Benefield. They're going to be side by side coming at it as well. McWhorter, he clears them. That's the move for the race lead. McWhorter, fastest lap last time by. He now grabs the race lead right as we thought that the 83 was just going to hold on to it and the 73 was going to be content running in P2. He says, you know what? I'm not happy with P2. I want to take the race lead. I want a taste of that clean air, baby.
We'll have to see how patient the rest of the drivers are being on those tires, or if McWhorter made the right adjustment, put Wineland there, and then number 87 machine, put him up to the 4th position as Hicksonball continues to just give up a couple positions here and there, trying to do some tire saving management.
Is already starting to see these racers trying to angle for the strategy, which, I mean, honestly, I can't necessarily blame them. Side by side, going to flare up with the 64 and the 87. That's Velasquez Jr. and Eric Wineland. Eric Wineland, much older, not much older when it comes to all this stuff in the race. I was just going to say, much more experience when it comes to having a charge through the field. Started this race in P10. Compared to the drivers running in front, starting in P4, P1, the case here, Coleman of Adam Benefield, and Charles Velasquez Jr. having started this race in 5th. You have to go all the way back to find Cameron Stone, who started in P24, running in 9th at the moment. Well done to Cameron Stone. But right now, Wineland feeling the pressure from Eddie Rose on the high side. Looks like the 46 is going to clear the 87.
Eddie Rose in that number 46 machine from the front to the back and working his way almost right back to the front. Looking for another position right here to put himself back on the podium here on lap 73 of 250. This is some really great racing here, Ron. This is my first time experiencing up here in the broadcast booth. These drivers are putting on a great race. I definitely know they got their hands full with the track temperatures up right now. We started this race at about 125. We're down to 119, so it's come down a little bit. But we'll have to keep. It's still got their hands full. I mean, 119 degrees is still hot to the hand.
Yeah, 119 degrees. I'm pretty sure there are steaks that people order in restaurants that are cooked to an internal temperature roughly around that. So I personally, if it were me, I would still not rest my bare body on it. But, you know, maybe I'm just odd. 3 wides, they had their way through turn number 2. Holy cow, there's some close quarter stuff with Nathaniel. Oh, in the middle of that, contact being made. Off into the inside wall is going to go. Charles Eaton bounces up across the racetrack. Hopefully doesn't get hit as he stopped there on the inside. He's got back out of harm's way. Smart call from the 75. Around a bumper car's going horrifically wrong down the black flag, and he picked up a meatball as a result of all that, heading down the backstretch.
Well, I thought he was going to do a great job of saving it here. A little bit of contact right there. You can see 3 wide off of turn 2. Everybody pushing for every inch. Just not enough room up top for the middle car. And yeah, the 68. There's a car there in the middle was Noah Woods, and oh man, I thought he was doing a great job of saving the car from making any contact with anything, and just unfortunately Charles Eaton on that inside wall got a meatball flag coming down pit road, limping down pit road. I'm not sure if he found his pit stall or if he's calling it a day, but very slow down pit road.
And very unfortunate as well, caught out in the midst of something that really wasn't his fault, frankly. That was just innocent bystander as he headed his way down the back straightaway. Those cars banging into each other. I believe it was Nathaniel Pollard and Noah Woods at the epicenter of all of that, and he just gets bounced the wrong way, hits the inside wall. We do have some pit stops going on right now. This is the drivers that came in rather early on into stage number 1, so trying to flip this race, come in early and be there at the end. But right now, Kirk Mills trundling his way down pit lane. As it stands right now, this would not be a very good race for him in terms of making his way into the playoffs, based off the fact he entered this race tied for that final spot with Eric Wineland, who was slotted in P13 heading into this race. Right now finds himself in P5. So Kirk Mills got to make a huge swing at things and hope for some drama a little bit farther up the road for him to still hold on to a playoff spot heading into next week's race.
As you saw there on the ticker, Rory Collins was our free pass recipient on this caution. That'll put 28 cars still on the lead lap, with 1 car going out with damage now. I believe the field is still single file. Man, the 3 wide racing here is pretty intense. There's almost enough room, but like you can see there on that incident, one driver not giving enough room, and it can lead to an incident. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And that inside wall did not give enough there for Charles Eaton. And unfortunately, I think he's going to be on pit road for quite an extensive amount of time, if not the rest of the evening.
Yeah, that is race-altering damage to that car. Unfortunate again as well, because he was the innocent bystander and all that. Nothing he really could have done to avoid that drama. He got struck by a falling anvil, and there's no umbrella in the world that can protect you from that. Well, there is one you can get from Acme, and it is quite expensive, so I'm not sure. I think Wile E. Coyote had that many moons ago, but I think he opened it up, and next thing you know, the falling anvil actually came in from the side. Tim Phillips, though, going to pick up an end-of-line penalty for this restart. Too many pit boxes he drove through, so that will send him a little bit farther in the back. But about to get this race restarted here, Jeremy, with Joseph McWhorter and Eddie Rose at the front. This is a front row we haven't seen thus far.
Boy, what a change pace up or change in names at the front here. McWhorter and Eddie Rose. I mean, wow, that's a pretty impressive story right there. Going from having to make that green flag penalty down pit road, and let's see what happens here. Pace car's getting ready to peel off.
That pace car got turned down pit lane, put the field back in the hands of Joseph McWhorter and Eddie Rose as they enter the restart zone, get through the gears, and we are back racing here at Iowa. McWhorter yet again proving that the high side is dominant on these restarts, going to arc it into turn number 1. Eddie Rose, though, still slotted in P2, holding onto that inside line comfortably as well, so I think he will be learning the lessons from a little bit earlier on, and now he's got to try and lunge down the inside into turn number 3 and 4. Thought he'd be content with that inside and just running in second. No, Eddie Rose is here, and he is here to fight. A little bit sideways as he ends his way out of turn number 4. Looks like he's going to wait a little bit before he tries to get a move done for the lead again.
Got a little loose there through the middle, 3 and 4 on the bottom, trying to make that pass happen over Joseph McWhorter. And it's hard to pass when this track's kind of, it's got banking, but when you come on these straightaways, it almost feels like it flattens out, and you're trying to put your foot down and get the gas to the engine, and it just slips the tires. And as you can see, the pass didn't happen. Just kind of just settling in right now as you look side by side here. The 0-3 of Austin at Evie and Cameron Stone in the 57 going into turns 3 and 4. The 57 is Stone on the outside in that Coors Light looking machine with Evie and the 03 Budweiser looking machine. Look at the Battle of the Beers.
Battle of the Beers as they head their way down into turn number 1. Who's going to be the one bubbling up in front? That was a terrible plot. I sincerely and wholeheartedly apologize for that one. A groan from Howie in the production truck. I can't necessarily blame you for that one bit, Howie. Here comes the 03. Back on the inside, the 57 of Cameron Stone. Still trying to make a move done on Cody Goza as well. Looking at the high sides of 57 there of Cameron Stone. And that right there was a pun of a guy who's paid to yap for a living.
Drivers on this outside line doing a really good job of making the passes. So I'm starting to see the trend of the high side is the way to make those passes. As these drivers up front, though, McWhorter, Eddie Rose. Eddie Rose not letting McWhorter get too far away.
Yeah, he's keeping him honest as it stands right now. You love to see it. Rose and McWhorter going to give us a good battle to talk about. If they start to throw too many haymakers at each other, though, look at the 64 of Charles Velasquez Jr. He's there to pounce as well. So 85 coming to 86 laps into this 250 lap long race here on Maconi Entertainment for race number 22 of the full length challenge Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series here in 2025. McWhorter still leads over Eddie Rose in front of Charles Velasquez Jr. They've built a gap though between your P4 runner and your P3. So Eric Wineland and Adam Benefield, those two in very similar looking race cars running at your top 5, a little bit farther back from this trio that we've got up on the front, but McWhorter doing everything he needs to do to hold on to the race lead right now. It certainly helps his cause, though, the fact you've got Eddie Rose and Charles Velasquez Jr. behind, who I can imagine are probably eyeballing the long run here.
Eddie Rose keeping the clean air on his nose, trying to do the best he can to get the power down and exit. I must say, I'm pretty surprised to see Adam Benefield, our stage 1 winner right now, running in that 5th position, trying to get around Eric Wineland. We'll see if he gets ready to turn up the heat here, as the stage is starting to click through pretty quick now. We've had some great racing.
Yeah, it's been a very good race up to this point. These racers throwing haymakers at each other yet again up at the front. McWhorter got clear Rose as they head their way out of 4, but Rose still there to pounce. I think he needs to rethink the strategy, though. That's the number 46. Think about, oh, no, that's not going to help out his cause one bit. Runs wide into 1 and 2. Going to keep that momentum rolling heading down the back straightaway, but he can't afford to have any more moments like that. Right as I was saying that, Eddie Rose should potentially rethink the lunge that he's going to try and go for on the number 73, because frankly at this point of the race you're better off just running in this spot, try and get to the end of the stage, then he can start to pass. We saw that number 73 start to drop down his lap. Traffic got involved and we got longer into one of these green flag runs. So if I was the number 46 or the 64, again, very good reason why I'm behind the microphone instead of behind the wheel, but if it were me, I would maybe wait. I would hold off for a little bit, wait for that number 63 to start dropping down.
As soon as I spoke there about Adam Benefield, he ended up passing Eric Wineland to put himself back into the 4th position. Last couple laps, too. He has been the fastest car on the track. So he is proving me wrong that his car is just fine.
Hey, we're iRacing commentators. Of course, we're going to get proven wrong many, many times by these racers. And we'll probably get proven wrong many, many more times between now and the end of this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment this evening. If you are enjoying it, how about you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the racing action. But Joseph McWhorter still leads over Eddie Rose. Charles Velasquez Jr., they're within striking distance still. They've built about a half a second gap between themselves and Adam Benefiel. However, with Benefiel now officially clearing that 87 of Wineland, he's there to pounce as well. Let's ride on board with Benefiel. They had their way down into 1 and 2. Yeah, this 3-car battle for first is now a 4-car battle for first. There is no question or shadow of a doubt about it. As soon as the 83 got past that 87, as soon as Benefiel overtook Eric Wineland, we saw the anchors that were tied to this 83 car get cut off.
Previous lap when Benefield had some clean air, he was the only car running in the 25-1s. We had everybody pretty much high 2s, 3s, and 4s in front of him. So Benefiel, excuse me, making that pass right there in another podium position. I believe it's go time. We got about 35 laps left in the stage.
35 laps left to go here for stage number 2, and we've got a 4-horse race at the front. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, whichever way you want to call it. We've got 4 drivers, all with very different agendas in mind. Adam Benefiel looking for win number 4 of this championship and off this regular season with as much momentum as he can. The only other driver to score multiple race wins outside Bryson Ixabal this season. So he's been a very good driver. He's had his fair share of bad luck though throughout this race and throughout the season, it must be said. So let's see if the driver of that number 83 machine will be able to conquer his way up to the front. He's got his Team Conti teammate running front though, so it's not completely straightforward. I wonder if we will see a swapperoo here down into turn number 1 and 2. He's gonna go Benefiel, looking to jump his way up into P2, and he gets a move done. Rose gonna back out of that, let him go into second, and now he's got an unobstructed view of the number 73 of Joseph McWhorter right in front.
For a second there, Benefiel going into turns 3 and 4, I thought he was about to make the pass for the lead. He's driving in a really deep car, working really well this part of the run. 73 of McWhorter running up a little bit higher, getting really good exits, but the 83 of Benefiel doing a great job on the entries. And I think once he gets side by side like he will right here, for the battle for the lead, it's going to be a very close. Benefiel just can't stay there on an exit, but I think if he can stay there on an exit and hold that 73 back with maybe just a touch of side draft, he can make that pass on one of these turns. Man, he is just there, so close.
Yeah, look at him. Very, very close as they had their way down the backstretch. Now side by side into turn number 3 and 4. Benefiel looking to wheel it down the inside. Not able to get the run. You can see him wiggling big time, having a saw at the wheel. The 73 of McWhorter right there in stride. The both of them really struggling at the moment for a grip. Or towards the end of the stage, these tires aren't nearly as fresh as they were a matter of 40 laps ago. And these racers know that. That's the reason why they're probably taking a little bit easy. Benefiel not really shipping it off into the turns. You got McWhorter as well, just trying to dance that number 73 car on the high side. They're still side by side though. They had their way down into turn number 1 and 2. He clears them a little bit, but then Benefiel just uses that draft to go back down the inside into 1 and 2. These drivers will continue to fight and continue to fight until either one of two things happens. One driver goes out in front, or they both go into the wall.
This battle is non-stop, and Benefiel is super loose on the exit. You can see he's starting to get a little impatient, trying to run just a little bit closer to that 73 lap after lap, trying to get the power down and just cannot get there. And even with these drivers battling side by side, they're still kind of pulling away from Eddie Rose. So goes to show you how fast these two cars up front are right now.
Yeah, they're very, very quick right now, but they're both nearly ending up on the walls. They head their way out of 3 and 4. Down the inside still is that 83, the 73 running on the high side. Just able to keep the momentum rolling on the top end. And you can just see him blowing Benefield's doors off. Dance his way down in there. I think Adam Benefield needs to back out of this, try and rethink how exactly to get this move done. They have some lap traffic coming up as well, so that may be a slight beneficiary thing for Adam Benefield, but at this point I think he just needs to rethink their strategy of how to get in front, because it's not working what he's trying to do right now. Got that 39 right in front. Let's see how this all shakes out with the lap car. He's going to be there on the high side. They both dive down to the bottom end of the track. They're going to be single file for now, but I think this is a calm before the storm here, Jeremy.
You know the old saying, getting there is easy, getting past them is hard. Well, you can see these drivers are battling really hard. Get Eddie Rose, Charles Velquez Jr. battling it out. And look no further, that bright green machine, Hixenbaugh, trying to dip into this fight. And behind Hixenbaugh, you got Eric Wineland with the lap car just up there on the top, trying to stay out of their way for this battle.
I'll tell you what, Eric Wineland, you can see him trying to take the draft off that number 39 car there as they headed their way down the start-finish straightaway. So the 87 still trying to wheel and hold on to P6 as it stands right now, but he is still locked in a very close battle for every single spot and every single point that will matter at the end of this regular season. But my speech impediment that I had when I was 7 comes back to bite me directly on my butt. See a little bit of smoke as they head their way down into 1 and 2. Did Eddie Rose have some sort of moment? Potentially, no. I believe it was Raymond Root at a moment, but holy cow, look at that. The number 83 of Benefield trying to wheel it down the inside. The 73 of McWhorter. That car looked like a bucking Broncos. He had his way out of 2 there.
Whew, lap cars with no handling. This is the best part of the run. This is where the drivers will make their money, if they were to get paid a lot, of course. But as you can see, just trying to battle up here for the lead. Benefield trying everything he can to get around this number 73. As the 73 has got that right rear pretty hung out on the entry, but it's doing a really good job of keeping it up and keeping it up with the momentum on that high side. As Raymond Root now retires from the race. A couple drivers dropping out here in this run right here. Quite the field we've had tonight. As we take a quick look at this replay, looks like he probably got loose off of 4, and unfortunately the left side of that car found the inside wall, and that will do it for Raymond Root.
A very easy way to knock yourself out of this race. Let's take a look at this. A very easy way to knock out your own teeth. Yeah, you can see running against the wall, just loses it up there, and that was a very bizarre collision. Bang into that inside wall. Huge hits there. He headed his way down the start-finish straight away. We are getting to the end of this stage, though. 110 coming to 111 laps on the board. So we're certainly in crunch time for this stage here, Jeremy, and that's the reason why we're back side by side at the front.
These two drivers have just been duking it out lap after lap. They've got themselves 1.4 seconds over third place. They're pretty much, if Benefield wants to just finish it here, he could, but you can tell he wants to sweep the stages. And, he's got a really good entry, but McWhorter just does so much better on exit. I'm starting to think that the 83 run on the bottom as long as he has might have kind of chewed up and used up his tires, as McWhorter's really starting to do a good job and pace that top.
Yeah, Joseph McWhorter doing everything he needs to in that number 73 car to just hold on to that spot. I think Adam Benefield may need to switch up his tactics and go to the mental side of things, try and push him and force the number 73 of McWhorter into some sort of mistake. I think that would be the winning strategy to win this stage for Adam Benefield, but even if that isn't the case, he would still be rather content. He's had a great run up to this point, already grabbed the win in stage number 1, so I don't think we'll see him force this issue too much, but again, these are racers. They are going to try and force every single little thing. As someone who spent a decent amount of his life in karts, I can attest to that for sure. But we got a yellow coming out here at the end of all of this. Not sure what that is for. You can see the smoke heading down into turn number 1. Someone had a moment. I think it was Nolan Hodgson and Nathaniel Pollard potentially involved in all that drama we're hearing as well. Let's take a look at this here, Jeremy. Oh!
Looks like they're running some contact wall with the wall for the lap car. This will not complete the stage as we look at this replay. Oh, lap car gets loose. I don't know if he was trying to hold the brake and get out of the way or what was going on there, but man, happened so fast, and unfortunately Nate Pollard was coming down the track and Noah Hodgson had nowheres to go.
That is such an unfortunate moment. We're going to run on board with Nolan Hodgson. The driver's had a very tough run in this race ever since the start, frankly, when he got pitched into a spin right at the drop of the green flag. And let's see. You can see that smoke. Oh, no, that's so unfortunate. I will say it has strung a decent amount of drivers down pit lane, including the likes of Eddie Rose, Kyle Amon, Cody Goza, and Brain Round. But that yellow is not going to end this stage, as you said a couple of moments ago, Jeremy, but it will be a rather short dash to the end, and that could be part of the reason why we're seeing these racers make that call to come down pit lane, including Bryson Hicksonball. I'm a little bit surprised about that call from Hicksonball. I guess it makes sense considering how slow his car is on the short run, maybe just trying to do damage control at the end of all this, but this is interesting, and he's been there for quite some time. Something must have gone on with Bryson Hicksonball.
Not sure if he got some contact
Maybe
at some point. Nope, he's rolling, so not sure. But he's still in the lead lap, and I believe the leaders are coming to the one-go signal. Should have the pace car lights. Nope, not yet. I lied. Disregard me.
Huh. I think we will get a very short run at the end of this race. I think we're going to get a green-white checkered, in fact, to the end of the stage. It's either going to be, well, I mean, we won't have 3 laps left at the end of all this. I think we're going to have probably about 2. So this is going to be a rather spicy end to this stage. I'll tell you what, the last time I experienced spice like this, I've been to a jalapeno, and it was so spicy I got my tongue stuck to an ice pack as a result.
Your tongue stuck to an ice pack. Okay. All right. And it's funny, speaking of spice, I actually just texted my wife and asked her to grab me something spicy from Taco Bell. So that's pretty ironic that you were just bringing up a spicy subject. As
I've got some more stories that I can share when it comes to spice.
As let's see, the pace car light's going to go off this time. Yes, they are. All right. So like I said, it should be about a 2-lap dash here to the end of this stage.
Howie on the production truck nearly stoking the flames, pun it very much so intended, of a war with saying that Taco Bell is not real spice. I'll tell you what, one time many moons ago, this was back in 2019, when I was about as tall vertically as I was horizontally, I decided to have my first salad, or try making my first ever salad, and I decided to cut up some peppers to put in it. I didn't realize I got habaneros, and I did not practice proper food safety etiquette, so I went to bed that night with my entire face, including the insides of my ears, on fire, having to race the following day, and it actually worked out rather well because I won that race. So, you know, if anyone wants to win an event, cover your entire face with habanero peppers. That may not be the right strategy that these drivers will pick, though, at the end of the stage, as we're back up and rolling for a quick little dash to the end here. It is still that number 73 of McWhorter leading us back to green. You can see that 83 of Benefield looking to try and find any way in the book now, side by side with the 46 and the 87. That's Wineland and Rose giving us a good battle to talk about for the final spot inside the top 3. They're coming to 2 to go in this stage. Next time by here, Jeremy, as a wreck heading all through 3 and 4. That was a big moment heading off through there.
Still green on the track. Wineland, one of those drivers right there on the bubble of the playoffs, trying to grab one more spot. He will grab that. That's another point. It's going to be, I believe it's 8 points where he's at. So that's a tremendous amount of points he's going to gain on Kirk Mills tonight. As Benefield, they're almost touching. They did. Benefield grabs the lead. Setting it in hard though is Wineland trying to grab a stage win.
Yeah, we're getting to the end of this stage. 1 lap left here in stage number 2, and these drivers throwing haymakers at each other. Look at the 87. He's currently in a very close battle for the final spots inside the playoff bubble. Look at him. He's not going to get the stage win. Instead, it's going to be the 83 of Adam Benefield getting it done. A photo finish with the 73 of Maconi, the 87 of Wineland. The yellow going to come out here at the end of stage number 2, and what a finish there to bring it to a conclusion. Adam Benefield grabs the stage win, 2 for 2 in these stages. That number 83 car has been the dominant force thus far this evening. Let's see if that will remain the case as we're about to get this final stage up and rolling. Eric Wineland in P2, McWhorter in 3rd, Charles Velasquez Jr., Austin Evie, Cameron Stone, Matthew Boston Wheeler, Michael Pratchett, Eddie Rose, and Noah Woods round out your top 10 at the end of this stage. At the end of what was basically the first half of this race, got to be hitting the halfway mark at about 5 laps time. We will probably get this race restarted with about half of this race left to go. So we take a look at some of the drama that went down during that very hectic restart.
So much drama on the track tonight. Take a look at this replay. Oh man, look at it, just tight driving. Oh! Unfortunately, there was a car on the inside, and I believe Kyle was trying to give some space to the car on the outside. Unfortunately, compensated a little too much for that car on the outside. Kept it green. Looks like the right rear bumper's a little bent up. Tires probably unhappy, but good news is we're on the stage break and the field is on pit road.
So seeing just another series of pit stops for these racers. I believe when all cycles at, the number 63 of Bryson Ixenball, who we saw come down pit lane, will be able to exit out in front of some people. However, with that very long run down pit lane, I'm not entirely sure how it'll all work out for him. We take a look at the replay of this fantastic finish, and the close quarter stuff with himself, the 83. Look at him sideways, heading his way down that start-finish stretch. Oh boy. And look at the 87 sending it down in there. That was Eric Wineland just licking the stamp and sending it full commitment from the drafty car down in there. It doesn't work out too well for him. He still walks away with P2 at the end of this stage, as we have had the pit stops go on. Benefield going to exit out in front. The 87 right there of Eric Wineland will be in P2 of those drivers who have made the call to come down pit lane. But you can see that they have not been shuffled back up to the front because of that late stage 2 yellow. We do have some varied strategies all throughout this field.
Yeah, right now the top 5 cars have 9 laps, so they pretty much pitted right before the end of that stage. That's going to really shake the field up here at the front. We'll see if that strategy works out. We'll have to see what the tire degradation was on those cars. You know, having those 3-lap green flag run right there. Obviously, they've been pacing for a few laps now, but you can still lose some tire degradation. And when you cycle them and whatnot. So we'll have to keep an eye on this strategy and see if it works out.
It is going to be a very dramatic end to this race. I can tell you that with certainty. It looks like Eddie Rose actually going to take the high side for this restart. A smart call as far as I'm concerned. All throughout this race, Jeremy, we have seen that high side just get off to brilliant restart after brilliant restart. So I like this call from the 46. Eddie Rose coming back from the brink of disaster after a moment a little bit earlier on this evening. It was the first restart of the night. Actually, no, I believe it was the second restart. My apologies. Had a moment, swapped sides, heading to the green, picked up a penalty, and had to come back from the brink of disaster. He's now back, and back with a vengeance.
Back and here at the halfway point of the race. When we go green. Halfway there, halfway to go. Is this strategy going to work? We're going to find out. 125 down, 125 to go.
There's a long time left to go here this evening for race number 22 of the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series here on Maconi Entertainment. It's going to be Eddie Rose and the 47 of Jim Shoefield up at the front as we're about to get it back up rolling and ready to rock and roll. The green flag is back out here at Iowa. We are racing one more time, and there's a 46 getting off to a flyer of a restart, yet again proving the dominance of that high side as we get these races back up and rolling. And look at the 63 of Bryson Hixenball, now trying to make a lunge as well.
Hixenball, one of those drivers that has a really good long run car. It's just stopping from losing all those positions on the long run. First two drivers, they've got 3-4 laps on their tires on the green. But look no further than third place. That's a driver with the freshest tires. That's Adam Bedingfield, driver, the winner, that almost won both stages. As he's now getting pressure on the outside there of Joseph McWhorter. McWhorter has been using the outside. Look at a huge wreck somewheres. River's got a yellow.
Oh, that's what caused it. Big drama as they headed their way off through 3 and 4. That's the 68 of Noah Woods involved in all of that, but he was far from the only driver getting a piece of that action. Let's take a look at this. They had their way down into 1 and 2. This was a calm before the storm. What really set it up, because it was in 3 and 4 where all hell began to break loose. Following the 68, right behind the 3 of Michael Pratchik. Doesn't look like a contact being made. No, it was the contact in front. The 03 of Austin Evie running into the back of what was that, the number 73, I think, number 73, my apologies here, my brain short-circuiting on me at the right time. Lots of stuff going on though there in the span of just a few moments. Contact involving the 03 and the 17 of Kyle Ammons. Yeah, I knew there was a 7 in there. There you could see more contact being made, and that was a 57 firing straight into the side. Was that the number 12 there up against the wall? The 57 just came in and T-boned him.
Yeah, heavy contact. That's probably going to do it for a couple of drivers here tonight. Late race or mid-race race starts. We know how crucial getting these positions are because it gets really hard to pass, especially when somebody's car is not having as much fall off now as one of the drivers going around here to grab that free pass, get a lap back, or on the lead lap. I believe that's going to be Tim Phillips. That'll put him down. Yep, that should put him down to 3 or 2 laps down. So just trying to grab those laps back. We have 24 cars on the lead lap here, Ron. Wow, this has been a heck of a race.
Yeah, this has been a race that's featured it all. We got that strategy content. We've had the brilliant racing. We've also had our fair share of incidents here at this point. So another yellow coming out. It brings an early end to the first green flag run of the final stage. And now we got to wonder how things are going to work out for the 63 of Bryson Hixenball. Came in not during this yellow, not during the last one, but the one before that. Doesn't feel like very long ago that we saw Hixenball make that call to come down pit lane. But at this point, there's probably already enough wear in that number 63 car's tires whereby he will start to drop back on this restart. We've seen that car be very good on the short runs. Long runs, on the other hand, though, been very iffy. So I think we may end up having to talk about the 63 of Hixenball begin to drop back on this restart. Hearing as well in the other in the race chat about our Maconi Entertainment colleague Kirk Mills and his 0Xs here. Is he holding on to a 0X right now? If he is, that'd be very impressive because this has been a rather dramatic race, so to speak. Good point raised by Howie in the production truck. I think I raised this a little bit earlier on, talking about how this is a first real short track race we've had since Richmond. The chances of us picking up seeing a driver pick up a DQ 4 from 0 here, Jeremy.
We're gonna see if it happens. There's been a lot of incidents here this evening, and a lot of them on the restarts can get a lot of those drivers 4Xs really quick.
I think definitely far above 0 in terms of the chances of us having some sort of disqualification to talk about here in this race. 17X the limit. That can go rather quickly as the driver's looking to go quickly here on this restart. It is still Eddie Rose up on the front of the number 46 machine as we are back racing here at Iowa. Look at that 63 car of Hixenball. Came in for tires a little bit longer ago compared to everybody else. Gonna start to see him drop back, but will he be able to put on a defensive run to hold on to every single spot for as long as he can? The 7-time race winner, including your winner last time at Indy, he's looking to hold on to every single spot that he can, but right now, I feel like it may turn into a losing battle soon.
Eddie Rose right there in first place says, don't worry about it. Just keep holding him back so I can get away from you guys and try to lead a little bit more of these laps. Keep the clean air on his nose. Clean air is king. Anywhere you go. Not as sensitive as next gen. But as you can see, the 73 though, Joseph McWhorter, he's going to get to the outside here of Brayson Hixenbaugh. The 73 has been really fast on the outside all night long.
Yeah, that number 73 of McWhorter, he has been a very good driver to keep tabs on throughout this race. One driver, though, is putting on a very good drive under pressure is that playoff contending driver, the number 87 of Eric Wineland, currently running in P5. Just set the 5th lap of the race last time by. Good stuff from that drafty car currently stuck behind your 3-time race winner up to this point in the championship of Adam Benefiel. He's looking to get back into another spot. Your 2-time stage winner already here tonight, looking to cap it off with a win this evening. Side by side, 3 cars covered by nothing as they head their way down the backstretch. Rose, Hixenball, and McWhorter all covered by nothing. They nearly fan out 3 wide through turn number 4. Eddie Rose holding on to that high side, trying to find any way in the book to hold on to it. McWhorter now trying to battle with the 63 of Hixenball, but I still think that it's definitely a 2-horse race in terms of these 3. I think Hixenball, him dropping down is just about inevitable. He's on much older tires compared to those 2. And now look at the 83 of Benefiel catching up to that action as well.
73 of McWhorter giving a little bit of a bump there to Eddie Rose. Maybe trying to make a little bit of space for himself. It'll be 3 wide for second though as Hixenball juts to the lead. He's going to bring the 73 and the 83 of Benefield and McWhorter with him. Now we're going to have another 3-car battle for the lead. Can Hixenball hold off these 2 on fresher tires?
Yeah, and here we go as they head their way side by side across the line. That's going to be the fight for P2 between Benefiel and McWhorter. And look at that, Benefiel gets that move done for second. He's now trying to get done for the race lead side by side with himself and Hixenball down the backstretch into 3 and 4 right about now. The 63 on the high side, the 83 on the bottom. Who's going to win out? That 63, he's on such older tires compared to the drivers around him. May not seem like the greatest difference in the grand scheme of things. It isn't here, Jeremy. But at a track like this, which is a giant 0.8 of a mile cheese grater on these tires, you really have to worry about that. Whereas look at McWhorter with a wacky ride as he heads his way out of 2.
But I'm shooting up that right rear here for a little bit here, trying to make the pass, trying to keep pace there at Benefiel. Benefiel, though, finally gets the lead back. Clean sailing from here. Can he now hold off Joseph McWhorter? Benefiel was just trying so hard this last run to get around him. We'll see if he learned his lesson and maybe hold back that 73 more defensively this time.
Yeah, the defensive game clearly being played at this point in this race. These drivers want to hold on to every single thing that they've got. This final stage is not just about running out there on the track. You have to worry about pit stops as well. Usually the case here in the final stages in these Xfinity Series races, and that plays a huge factor in it as well. Look at the 42 of Mason Lowry trying to look for a move on the high side. The 68 of Noah Woods. These 2 have not had the smoothest of evenings up to this point, but they're holding on to the first 2 spots outside of the top 10 and trying to battle as hard as they can before that 71 of Hunter Truex decides to peek a nose in, as well as I think they're wrecking on the front straightaway. Nice save we're hearing as well. They avoided disaster and we remain green with 109 laps left.
Take a look at this replay here. We believe it starts with Kyle Amon. Let's see. Amon there in the number 17. Slides up. We've got 2 cars. Oh! Looks like there was contact right there in front of him. Oh, several cars piling into that. Surprisingly, there was no yellow, but there was definitely some cars with heavy damage.
And we're hearing that Daniel Llewellyn and many others were involved in that moment. It's very fortunate that we remain green here in this race, but it proves that these racers are still throwing haymakers at each other. They're battling hard, and even though we are very far into this race as well, Jeremy, track conditions not the best in the world, still running rather hot as it stands right now, as the racing action certainly hot out there on the racetrack with the 71 trying to wheel it at the moment. Look at the drop-off in track temperatures, 113 degrees Fahrenheit, which compared to what we had earlier on this evening, Jeremy, that feels close to ice cold.
You're exactly right. We're almost 10 degrees colder on track temperature than how we started at. Big moment there for that red car. I believe that is the Truly there.
On the 71, yeah.
Nope, excuse me, that was actually Wheeler right there behind him, the 06. That's who it was. He was really sideways trying to hold on to it on the outside. He does a good job. Got a little contact from Noah Woods, but no harm, no foul. Trying to follow through, though, is Brayton Round on that outside. We haven't spoken too much about him here too much today, but now he finds himself right here just inside the top 15.
It's a good spot for him to be in right now. We talked about right before we got this final stage up and rolling. You can't really discredit anybody at this point of the race. We've had our drama, we've had our chaos, and we're still expecting it with another round of pit stops set to approach these racers between now and the fall of that checkered flag. Adam Menafield leads over Joseph McWhorter. Bryson Ixbal rounds out your podium runners as it stands right now, as we still keep our eyes on this battle involving many a racer. Have had many a moment throughout this race, the 68 and the 06. Noah Woods and Matthew Boston Wheeler, they've gotten involved in their own incidents. The 00 of Brain Round, though, he's had a rather tame race. I don't think we've talked about that. The Moon Eyes car, the 00, as he has his way down onto the start-finish straightaway. Haven't talked about him too much in this race. He's just been remaining calm and patient, cool and collected, even though he's now gotten a move done on Matthew Boston Wheeler to jump his way up into lucky number P13.
Look no further, number 13 of Cody Bird jumps one more spot around Wheeler up to 14th. Pretty clean pass there by the number 13. A lot of these drivers here just outside the top 5. We still got 23 cars on the lead lap, with Cameron Stone rounding that out in position number 23. He's had a few incidents here tonight as we're right on board here with Mick Quarter into turns 1 and 2. Now finds himself 0.9 behind the leader. Leader ran a 25.11. McWhorter ran a 25.16. So not too far off here from McWhorter, but every lap it does spread out just ever so slightly.
Yeah, just starting to see it spread ever so slightly lap after lap. Benefield settling into a groove at the front of this, and news of a slightly inconvenient nature. I have Christmas lights up in my room. Yes, it is. I nearly said July. No, it's not July. It is August. Yes, it is August. Yes, I still have Christmas lights up. Not because it's Christmas time, but because it is very cozy here in my room. And those just went out. So right now I am relying off of lights on my wall. So currently my broadcast booth looks about as well lit as a bat's
As a yellow flag.
So I may have to get this taken care of as the caution lights are on around the track. The yellow coming out with less than 100 to go, and there's the 07, I believe, stopped on the apron, heading down the back straightaway.
Take a look what happened here with Daniel Llewellyn. Looks like he had the 17 of Kyle Ammon on his inside. Oh, looks like he got a little loose off of turn 2, and man, another hard break.
Steve Benjamin hitting the inside wall.
That was Steve Benjamin, yep. Daniel Llewellyn, some more heavy contact with the outside wall, the rear of the car, and just yeah, he's gonna have some repairs to do. It looks like Austin Evie is out as well, so losing quite a few cars here.
You know, following another moment here involving Austin Evie trundling his way down on the apron of the track, down into pit lane, and I think he just decided to say, you know what, he probably picked up a pit lane speeding penalty. Actually, no, probably closed pit entry. That may have been what did it there for Austin Evie, and I think he decided to say, you know what, screw it. I think he decided to call it a day. So Austin Evie going to be another retiree from this rather challenging race. As here we go, Jeremy. Call to come down pit lane for a lot of these races up the front.
Oh yeah, strategy. That's another name of the game too here with 94 laps to go. I would assume fuel situation's pretty close, if not good to go. Drivers should have a few sets of tires left. Definitely want to use them up here. Get some 4 fresh ones on there. Any drivers want to get damage fixed, they'll definitely do that. Let's see who wins the race off of pit road here.
Yeah, they're all up on the jacks. Who's going to come out of pit lane first? It's going to be a drag race between the 83 of Benefield, the 73 of McWhorter going to exit that right behind, but the 83 gets the jump. That is exactly what he needed to do. I'm a little bit surprised, though, about this call to come down pit lane, because these racers, if it remains green, I don't think they'll be eyeballing another run down pit lane, because at this point, I think they've burnt up all of their tires, or at least they're getting very close to doing so. So this is going to be a marathon run to the end of this race here, Jeremy. I want to ask you if you're a fan of this call made by a lot of those front runners.
Well, I'm not too sure on the fuel situation. Like you said, the tires, we should be close to 1 or 2 sets left with almost 100 laps to go. So, you know, it could be really risky, especially if you slide your tires. If you get into an incident here, you just put those tires on, you gotta go grab fresher ones once you make them all upset. So, gotta be careful how many you're using here later in the game. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot at risk here as we get to the end of the regular season in the Friday Night Lights 2025 season. Been a good one up to this point. We've had some absolutely killer races. We've still got a few more left to go until we get those playoffs kick-started on September the 12th here in 2025. Watkins Glen next time out. Going to be returning to the road courses for the first time in not very long. It was July the 11th at Sonoma the last time we had a road course race, so really in the road course section of the calendar. But if you're not a fan of road courses, we can get you squared away with some good oval action to come the week after at Daytona, and then of course Portland going to be the race after that, the penultimate race in the regular season, and the final one will be at Gateway. It will be the entry gate into the playoffs, and you can see the rest of the races there: Bristol, Kansas, the Roval, Las Vegas, Talladega, Martinsville, and then Phoenix on a Halloween night. Going to be a spooky end for those racers trying to contend for a championship here in 2025. Already have 8 drivers locked into the playoffs right now. 4 more spots available heading into this evening's race, and right now your front 2 have already locked their way into the playoffs. 4 wins between them, Benefield 3, McWhorter at 1. History between those racers as well, it must be said, but we are back up and racing. Someone's not going away well at all behind. Not sure who that is. I believe that's Michael Deach dropping down like a stone thrown into a pond. Very lucky that didn't result in a stack up like we saw earlier.
Side-by-side battle here for second. Hixenbaugh trying to get a McWhorter, but we've seen that outside benefiting all night. As that will happen, but Hixenbaugh going to fall back here to 3rd. 4th still Weiland, Rose 5th. See how these drivers make adjustments here on this last pit stop. Now we're getting some green flag laps.
Yeah, who's got the stuff with 92 laps left to go? It looks like Benefield has it at the moment. The 73, though, of McWhorter. Holy cow. You can see him having a saw at the wheel as he has his way out of that section now. Look at the 63 of Hixenbaugh trying to wheel it down the inside, trying to make anything work to make up some time. We saw that number 63 car struggle in the early stages of this race, but now that we're getting to the end, we're starting to see him begin to come alive. Does it sound familiar? Well, it should. If you tuned in last week at Indy, that's pretty much exactly how it worked out for him. Of course, fuel saving being the beneficiary of that call to come down pit lane rather early and stretch it to the end. That's what worked out for Ixenball last time out. Let's see if it will be another come-from-behind victory here at Iowa, remaining in the Midwest. Will that number 63 car grab victory number 8 for this championship? The top seed of the playoffs right now, and he looks to try and solidify that and keep some momentum rolling as we get to the end of the summer. But out of Benefield, keeping that momentum rolling out of the front. As much as he may not be the leader in the wins column when it comes to the top 3, Benefield has been the Pied Piper in this race. He has been dominant, won the first 2 stages, holds on to the lead now with 89, coming to 88 laps left to go. Benefield clearly the force to be reckoned with at Iowa tonight.
Great battling still left to happen. We're watching the leaders right now. 4 cars. Kind of breaking away a little bit from Eddie Rose. The top 5 still within a second. As it looks like maybe everybody's kind of trying to settle in here for this run to the finish.
Yeah, settle into something. We haven't really seen a very long green flag run go on at all throughout this race. There's always been a looming yellow. It speaks about the challenge of this racetrack. And I gotta say as well, this has been a very clean season up to this point. And we've gone off the streak of the past couple of races where really the only yellows we've had have been down 2-stage breaks in competition caution. So it's been fantastic stuff from these racers as of late. But as we're on the first short track, really, when you think about it, the first short track that we've had in this championship since April the 18th. It's been a very long time since we saw these racers running on a short oval, so that could be part of the reason why they're letting their hair down and really starting to use up their stuff tonight. 85 laps left to go. Benefield the 83 still holds on to it. McWhorter, that 0.2 of a second back. Bryson Ixenball, though, is keeping that number 73 firmly in his view. Those two have been playing itchy and scratchy as of recent laps, with the 63 really being a thorn in the side for McWhorter in the 73.
We've watched Ixenball kind of falling back on these runs. Doing a pretty good job this run, not falling too far back. He's finally made some adjustments. Ixenball really driving it in there good on these entries, but that top middle lane is just working really good on exit for that 73 of McWhorter. So we're kind of slinking back and forth with these positions as Wineland now starting to fall back a little bit now on this part of the run.
Yeah, Wineland, I'm not really sure what to make of the pace of the number 87 car. He's been running good. There's no question about that. However, I haven't really seen too much out of that number 87 in the sense of consistency. Sometimes he's good on the short run. Sometimes he's good in the medium run. Sometimes he's good in the long run. You can never really be too sure. It's as if Goldilocks walked in and none of the porridges were the right temperature for her tasting.
I guess all that probably does matter though for Ixenball is being good at the right time. This might be that time to be good, to be there at the finish. Benefield though, been strong. They go across the corn start-finish line. Benefield running probably just about a half a tenth faster. Excuse me, half a thousandth faster. But pretty calm on the track right now as we look further back here. You got Noah Woods in the 68 looking in behind the Cody Bird machine and Brayton Round. Brayton Round doing a good job moving up the field. He's now up to 12th. Right behind these drivers, you got kind of Tanner Marta there a little bit farther back. So these 3 drivers are probably one of the closest battles on the track. Like we said, it seems like everybody's riding it out here as we're going to be side by side between Brayton Round and Cody Bird into turns 3 and 4. We've seen that top work good, but Brayton Round gets a little tight. Ooh. Did a good job of keeping it straight. We've seen everybody getting pretty loose on the exit of 4. Looks like Brayton Rounds is going to kind of succeed the position to Cody Bird. Put Cody Bird in the number 13 with the Philadelphia Eagles logo on the hood up to the 12th position.
I will keep my mouth shut. I will keep my mouth shut. I will keep my mouth shut. The number 13 still holding on to that spot right now. P12 at the moment for him as he gets his way onto that start-finish straight away. I keep my mouth shut for the simple sake that the only sport that I really know the square root of anything about outside of all forms of motorsport is curling. So you can tell that I was very popular back when I was in school. Go Bird, says our producer with the little info screen there up at the top. You know what? I'm going to say, as things are a little bit tame out there on the racetrack right now, I'm going to share a story from what happened a little bit earlier on today. I usually wouldn't share this, but it's a broadcast on the iRacing channel, and it sounds cool. So I do a broadcast of a race series. I will not say, but you can catch it at about 5 p.m. Eastern every single Friday over in the iRacing and RaceBot TV YouTube channels. And one person in the YouTube chat was our very own Howie Burrows, our producer for tonight's broadcast. And spent the whole, I won't say the whole show, there were 2 messages said in the YouTube chat during that broadcast asking me to play on the harmonica. Now, I've had a harmonica ever since about 2020. I bought it out of the blue. You can either confirm or deny that's true. But I bought this harmonica during the rain delay of the 2020 NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Daytona, I believe. So that dates it immediately. This was pre-pandemic, I'm talking here. I bought that harmonica, and I have brought it out on many a show. I think I've even brought it out on broadcasts that we've done together, Jeremy.
You are correct. I have been serenaded by the harmonica before.
I am sorry that you have been cursed with such a fate. We'll say we got a battle now flaring up with Hicksonball in the 73 of Jostick McWhorter as they head their way down into 1 and 2. That's a slow car on the apron. I believe they've come out of the pit lane. But here we go. Hicksonball and McWhorter now starting to battle as Adam Benefield starting to drive off into the sunset, that number 83 car.
83 Benefield says, you know what, you two battle side by side. I'll just take care of my tires up here. Continue to pull away. Dip and dive that lap traffic to the end. 71 laps, I believe, left to go. I think I totally missed that number there. There's, things are getting pretty spicy up here in the production booth.
Yeah, I think things are starting to get spicy out there on the racetrack as well. These racers are now beginning to get involved in their own little battles. We're past that honeymoon stage of the tires on these cars, and we're getting into that point where they're really starting to feel the way they will throughout the rest of the stint. These drivers getting a good idea as to how their adjustments may have helped / hurt them in the latest round of pit stops, which is still going on. I believe that's Steve Benjamin trundling his way down pit lane as he stands currently.
Hicksonball can get there, just cannot continue to get that pass as McWhorter does a really good job of running that defensive line and trying not to make any mistakes, just running that middle top-ish lane there. Let everybody else try to just use their stuff up on the bottom. I will say, it looks like the 83 is kind of getting a little bit closer, so he might be saving some more of his stuff here. We'll have to keep an eye on that.
And we also do have the lap traffic playing a role in this factor. That is not proper grammar at all, but screw it, it's proper grammar to me. We're starting to see the lap traffic begin to play a role in this battle of the field, starting to converge on each other. More and more drivers getting involved in all this, not for position, but it can make a difference. In the case of this battle with McWhorter and Hicksonball, let's say the 73 gets caught up a little bit, the 63 going to say, you know what, thank you very much, I'll take that spot. If there's anybody in this field that can afford to try and risk it for the biscuit, or Trisket if he is feeling the low-calorie option tonight, it is definitely Bryson Hicksonball. 7 wins up to this point. Really does not have a lot to lose if he tries to lick the stamp and send it into the turn, and it doesn't really work out his way. But at the same time, that's not really Bryson Hicksonball's strategy. He usually just stays in these races and doesn't throw haymakers at it.
I mean, with 7 wins, looking for 8, you know, you're just looking for bragging rights. And those playoff points, stage points, getting everything to the end. And I would definitely say he's probably going to secure up that good first round of the playoffs with all the playoff points he's acquired with all those wins. Still continuing to drive it in there, though. Trying to get to the inside there of Mick Horter. Benefield, excuse me. Managing through lap traffic just fine. Been hearing him over the radio saying thank you. It's respectful driving out here tonight between the lap down cars and the leaders. Man, Hexabaugh, he can get there in the entry, just can't completely get there enough. McWhorter's got a lot of good patience and execution, just running this top line over and over again. As we look just further on back between Eddie Rose and Eric Weiland. Rose trying to go from 5th to 4th, I believe.
That's a battle for the final 2 spots inside the top 5. And those racers, I wouldn't say they're playing it fast and loose. I think they know the sort of spots that they're in right now. Eddie Rose hasn't really made all the races thus far this championship. He's not looking to try and really mess anybody's day up. He just wants to get a good result. The same could be said, though, about the number 87 of Eric Wineland. He hasn't been too present over the past couple of weeks, but he is still full-timer in this championship, is still looking to race his way into the playoffs. He's got that point battle heading into this round, and frankly, if there's anybody who's feeling the stress in this race, it is certainly him. As we look at the side-by-side battling flaring up one more time with McWhorter and Bryson Hixenball. Now 60 laps left to go here this evening in this 250-lap long race for round number 22 of the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series, and it's Benefield over McWhorter over Hixenball. These two still looking to scrap. You can see that number 63 of Hixenball really hasn't dropped back the way that I thought he was going to, Jeremy, and that really speaks volumes about the kind of driver that Hixenball is.
Doing a good job adapting to the strategy of his tires, making adjustments throughout the night to make his car better. You can see he's struggling just a little bit on the exits, but he's doing everything he can there to try to continue to put the pressure on that number 73. We'll have to see what these drivers can do if they get, back to single file, get some clean air, some clean track, see what their lap times compare to Benefield. Benefield says, you drivers just keep battling out there, and I'm going to drive away as he passes yet another lap car and makes it look easy.
Yeah, Adam Benefield at this point, he's running in the comfort zone. He's saying, you know what, I'm good. I like the race lead. I've been in it for a decent portion of this race. I'm just content running in this spot right now. So he continues to pick off those lap cars as these two have cooled off their battle a little bit. The same could be said about the fight with Eric Wineland and Eddie Rose. So we jump back to this battle. The Battle of the Titans is for the final few spots inside the top 15. You look at the 68 of Noah Woods trying to clear the 00, the Moon Eyes car of Brain Round, who's around the outside right now. Tanner Marty's on the inside of him. It is a battle for the final spots inside of this pack, and it's looking very intense as they head their way down to the backstretch. And
What?
still looking like a good battle as it stands right now. It has cooled off slightly. No Woods, Tanner Marty, and Brain Round still covered by about a half a second. It's a close battle for sure, but I think at this point as well, Jeremy, we talked about how the honeymoon period ended with these drivers taking it easy on their tires. Then they start to turn up the wick. Now I think they're starting to feel the burn of tire wear. So I think we may start to see these racers go back into that mode of taking it a bit easy.
As we're winding in on the home stretch of this race, about 53 laps to go. These drivers know they got to make it to the end probably with these tires. The way this is trending, insert commentator's curse, jinx right here with this great green flag run we're having right now. This is some pretty intense racing. I mean, this, like our producer just put in my ear, this is 20 minutes of green flag racing, and it's one of our longest stretches here tonight.
It's been a very long green flag run for sure. As it stands right now, if we make it all the way to the end, we're going to have a solid like half hour plus of green flag running. I think we'd have about 20 minutes left to go in this race if we run all the way through to the end perfectly clean, but you can never be too sure. We do have to worry about the pit stops as well, potentially some more drivers making the call to come down pit lane. We'll just have to find out how it's all going to work. And I will say one thing for sure, these drivers stay all the way out until the end. The tires, I wouldn't even say they'd be worn down to the canvas. They would be worn down to the wire inside of these tires. It would be fantastic for us to see in the broadcast because we would get to see what an Xfinity car looks like at about a 15-degree angle canted coming out of the turns, but at the same time I would not want to be behind the wheel of these cars. There's no question in my mind about that. Eric Wineland and Eddie Rose giving us a good battle right now. That's a lap car. The 06 and Matthew Boston Wheeler getting a piece of that drama as well at the epicenter of all of it. Jumps to the high side, tries to get out of the way of Eddie Rose in the 46. Has broken up that battle a little bit, but they are still pretty much right on top of each other. Same could be said about McCorder and Bryson Exenball, who all throughout the stint have been throwing haymakers at each other. But as they've been battling Adam Benefield in that number 83 car, even with the lap traffic and all the sort of challenges that are still baked into running around this race as consistently as he has been, Benefield just trying to check out and drive off into the sunset.
Now into the final 50 laps. Who is going to make a move that could potentially put us under a yellow, make a mistake? Anything can happen as they're still pretty much side by side here for second. I mean, lap after lap, 73, 63, side by side, trying just... It's almost starting to turn into a nightmare. I'm just kidding. But
it's like our own version of Groundhog Day. That's exactly what it is. It's like, oh, we've got side-by-side fight for P2. I wonder what's going to happen in a couple laps. Oh, we've got side-by-side battle for P2. It's as if this race is starting to repeat himself. Bryson Exenball down the inside, not going to work out. He's got to back out of it. Down into 1 and 2. They're going to go single file, but Exenball looking to fight back on the inside. I'll tell you what, Jeremy, it feels like this race is repeating itself, kind of like Groundhog Day in an odd way. It's like our version of Groundhog Day here on Maconi Entertainment, because this race feels like it's repeating itself all the time.
Yeah, the top three have kind of been the same way here throughout this run. As we're in those final 50 laps, we got a couple drivers coming on pit road. Not sure if it's a strategy that's going to work or if they just need fuel and tires to get the end regardless, but that right there is the number 3 of Michael Prashik. Apologies.
Yeah, I'll get you on the pronunciation there, Prachik. Don't worry, it took me a little bit while to get it all hammered away there for the number 3, but he made the call to come down pit lane. So we do have some pit stops going on, some drivers with those split strategies, as we talked about at the start of this final stage. Still going to see that throughout the end of this race. See who's going to be able to make it work, who may not. But right now, we have still got the racing that we've got on screen right now between your P2 runner of Joseph McCorder and your P3 runner of Bryson Exenball. I'll tell you what, these two involved in another very close battle. Bryson Exenball yet again looking for a move down the inside. Not going to keep that momentum rolling on that inside. Keeping that momentum on the high side will be the 73 of McCorder. He pulls away, and here we go down into turn number 3 and 4. Exenball trying to make it work there. Will it go that well? Someone has a bad motor there on the inside as Exenball has a huge snap heading out of turn number 4. I was going to say something that I'm not really sure I can say on the air there in reference to that engine. I have seen better driving through the streets of Philadelphia, though, I can say.
Drivers expiring motors. Man, so close to...
I think that may have been what we call the business of money shift.
Yeah, trying to come down pit road potentially and shift a little too fast.
She was screaming. That right there is the unmistakable sound of metal snapping and money being put down a drain. That's exactly what happened there as we saw that money shift, I should say, coming out of pit exit. We'll say, though, Hickson Ball continues to look down the inside of Joseph McWhorter every single time that he can. And every single time he does that, the 73 of McWhorter just keeps on momentum on the high side. I'll tell you what, Jeremy, and this honest, this race feels like Maconi Entertainment's version of Groundhog Day. It feels like this race keeps repeating itself.
Because if you took a nap right before the race started and you saw this battle and you just woke up from that nap, you would have thought you didn't miss any of the part of the race. The way this race has played out here between these two for the last 35 plus laps. And Hickson, I mean, the car is good, or was good. He's starting to slip on exit now, and he was doing pretty decent at the bottom, but not having the ability to go up to the wall on exits has definitely been hindering his ability to make this pass happen. And I'll say it again, though, McWhorter doing a great job being content, being good on top.
Yeah, Joseph McWhorter doing everything he needs to do on the high side, just doesn't have the momentum rolling enough to be able to reel in Adam Benefield. Just has enough to remain in front of Hickson Ball as it stands currently, as we look at a battle potentially going on involving some lap traffic here right now. There you can see the number 29 of Tanner Marty running in P11 right now. And look at that, hounding right behind is the number 83 of Adam Benefield. Kirk Mills also involved in all of that action as well. Kirk currently slotted in P12, a good result for him to be sure. Both Eric Wineland running in P4 won't be the best when it comes to that playoff picture as it stands presently. Benefield really doing well. Doing well during this, and doing well during this race as well. He has 38 laps between now and the end to try and seal the deal on what has been a rather dominant drive up to this point.
Very dominant drive out of that number 83 machine. See, Kirk Mills right there trying to hang on. He's in 12th. Lapped all the way up to 11th so far there for our leader. So 10 cars left on the lead lap right now. Checking out cars that have pit. I'm not sure if the strategy would work, but like Michael Patrick, he is almost a second faster than our leader.
I think we're starting to see the game now begin to be played of drivers on far better tires compared to some of those at the front of the field, and this could be a breeding point for yellows coming out here as well. Got some drivers going significantly faster than others, and that's when you get into the real trouble spot. And I have a feeling that if we do have a yellow at the end of this race, that will throw things for a loop quite a lot here this evening for race number 22 of the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series here on Maconi Entertainment. If you enjoy the action and want to stay tuned for all of it here, have to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the racing action. But McWhorter and Hickson Ball battle yet again through 3 and 4. Will it be a dive again from the 63 into 1 and 2? Looks like it will be. Will it work for them as they head their way through there? The 53. You can see him running slow. That's Steve Benjamin going to trip him up a little bit. Here we go. They're still side by side. They finally single fouled out there. McWhorter just keeping that momentum on the high side. The 63 not able to make it work. I'll tell you what, Jeremy, with these drivers going side by side as often as they are, it feels like Maconi Entertainment's version of Groundhog Day. It feels like this race just keeps repeating itself.
Well, these two can continue to battle out as there's an issue here for Goza, potentially. Let's see if we can get a look at it. Oh, yeah, really sideways off of 4. Through the grass. Does a great job of keeping it off that inside wall, though. Obviously, probably lost some positions, but still running, and that's a plus here tonight. As I was going to say real quick, these two drivers battling it out is probably a good thing for the 4th place running car of Eric Wineland. He had himself almost within a half a second there for a little bit trying to catch these leaders.
And yet again, they're side by side between McWhorter and Hicksonball. Insert the line here, and they finally single file it out as they head their way out of the turn. Adam Benefield now just pulling off into the sunset, running a very good race as it stands right now. And let's see how it's all going to shake out in the final 31 laps of this race this evening. It's been a fun one up to this point. These racers have had to deal with a lot up to this point in time, and still have a lot to deal with between now and the very end of it. Adam Benefield still your race leader. The quarter in P2, Bryson Hicksonball running at your top 3 as it stands at the current moment. I will say, and I'll ask this little favor here in the production truck, could we potentially, as we see the lap traffic going on there with Kirk Mills, could we potentially jump to Adam Benefield? I want to see his perspective of dealing with the lap traffic around here, because we're certainly in the point of the race where we have got an absurd amount of lap traffic, and it's catching up to quicker and quicker cars. This is a rather impressive stat. Adam Benefield has lapped everybody up to Cody Goza as he only is farthest back of the drivers, not 1 lap down as it stands right now. Fantastic stuff from Benefield.
Goza, who we just saw just a few moments ago, to have that moment and keeping himself on the lead lap for now by not wrecking, which as you can see it is closing the gap very quickly, as we're down to the final few laps, or excuse me, the final let's see, 27 laps to go.
27 laps now left to go here this evening on the 7/8 of a mile track here at Iowa Speedway. A fun little fact for all of you: there was a NASCAR champion who was very instrumental about making this track, and he actually has a name, as a road named after him right outside it. It's Rusty Wallace. Incidentally enough, I'm not sure if a lot of people know that. I certainly do. Have gone to visit this track on several occasions in real life. Absolutely adore it, and I will give a glowing review of the hotel whose name I just forgot as I was about to say it. There's a hotel about 1 exit farther west on I-80, right by there, which is absolutely fantastic. I stayed there back in 2021. And a funny thing about all that as well, and I'll share this little story as it's rather calm at the present moment, is it this track the only thing in Iowa? I'll tell you what, I say this as someone who lives in the state of Pennsylvania, and driving out to Lincoln, Nebraska, which, let's face it, Nebraska, up until many moons ago, when industry finally started going to the state of Nebraska, that state was 50% dust and 50% bowl. But as someone who lives in the state of Pennsylvania, driving from round about the suburbs of the city of Philadelphia all the way through to the end of the state where the Pennsylvania Turnpike ends and you go into the state of Ohio, that is the longest section of road on God's green earth. The Pennsylvania Turnpike is, I think, 350 miles, because it just weaves through the mountains of western Pennsylvania, going in all sorts of different directions. At one point, it's only like 5 miles north of the border with, I nearly said North Virginia. West Virginia is the correct name of the state. North Virginia is not the name of a real place, at least in real life. It's probably the name of something in a video game. But the Pennsylvania Turnpike goes from 5... Oh, we have a yellow here! We have a yellow coming out with 23 laps left to go!
Alrighty, well, first we're going to figure out, I think it was maybe potentially Cody Goza. Is that... It's like Rory Collins right here on the outside.
Oh, Jackson.
Oh,
Cody Goza.
Was that?
That's Cody Goza there in the number 96.
Was that somebody getting loose, or is it some type of retaliation for something? Not sure what just happened there.
Yeah, I think that right there was a
just
little bit of iRacing glue, honestly. I think the 39 got a little bit squirrely out of there, and then nothing they could have really done. They just got stuck together and could not separate each other as they headed their way through there. We'll say we do have some pit stops coming on right now. There you can see the smoking ball of flames there on pit lane. I'm not sure how much of a safety violation that may be, but I feel like it's certainly some sort of safety violation. Trundling their way down pit lane, that's the 73 of McWhorter in his pit stall. There's Eddie Rose trying to hit his marks well. Everybody coming in at the end of this race to try and mount some good tires, and here we go. Usually how these races go, once we get a late race restart, that's when it gets dicey. Look at that close quarter stuff between the 73 and the 83. Adam Benefield going to exit out with the lead, and he only got that by the width of a fly's hair. Do flies have hair?
I think they do, yep. Yeah, very small hairs, actually, so I guess it works out.
I mean, I've got to take it. You can tell I'm not a good biologist. I'm not even sure if that's the right profession for the study of bugs. Entomologist? I'm gonna have to look into this now.
You will have to look into it. We'll have to figure it out. And boy, this is gonna get pretty dicey. We know these drivers
Entomologist, I called it.
there. All right.
See, I know one thing. Anyways, sorry.
We're going to have less than 20 laps to go on this green flag run. Drivers are going to be making some pretty crazy moves, I would assume, to try to get every position they can. Eric Wineland, that's one driver that I know wants to finish good here because Kirk Mills has found himself into the top 10 after all this. And I know Eric Wineland's got those stage points as that gap.
So now that we are approaching yet another restart this evening, it gives us the chance to kind of debrief as to how things were going in that last green flag run that we had, the longest we've had by a pretty significant margin, must be said here this evening. Just touching on some of the points that were raised right towards the end of that green flag run, though. So what I was going to say is that Iowa is nowhere near as bad driving through as the state of Pennsylvania. There is also the Iowa 80 truck stop in Davenport, right at the start of the state when you're traveling west, or right at the end of it if you're going east. That was always a pilgrimage point for my dad and I. We would always go there and be like, hey, we're nearly here. We're nearly at Salinka, Nebraska, even though it's another like 10 hours on the road before you'd actually get out there. But outside of that, Iowa rather empty to drive through, which it's a different kind of empty compared to driving through the state of Pennsylvania, because driving through the state of PA, you are around more trees and cows at certain points than you are around people. Through Iowa, it is just cornfield, 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 soybean field, racetrack, truck stop. That's basically how it goes throughout that state. We're ready to get things up and rolling here from potentially the final restart this evening here at Iowa as we're back up and racing. And for the first time, the inside line getting off to a flyer of a restart. Cody Bird picks up a black flag a little bit farther behind Adam Benefield. He's going to jump out to the lead. McWhorter going to slip in tow in P2. Now Bryson Hixenball going to potentially look at some battling as well, but Adam Benefield now has a test on his hands to shake off the number 73 of McWhorter like a bad case of the fleas.
Everybody up front right now running on fresh tires, all in the same set. All fresh, all clean, ready to roll. Everybody can race here hard to the end. 16 laps to go. Rose with a little bit of a moment there off of turn 2. Benefield still doing great out front. Hexenball trying to get to the inside of the 73 once again.
Yeah, where have I seen this before? Adam Benefield holding on to it. McWhorter on that high side, and Bryson Hixenball still looking down the inside. I'll tell you what, this race feels like my version of Groundhog Day. It feels like it just keeps repeating itself, but Benefield holding on to it still over McWhorter, over Hixenball. These three looking to form their own little breakaways. Eric Wineland running in fourth. He's not going to try and force this issue too much. He's running in a very good spot. Entered this race, the first driver out, literally tied on points with Kirk Mills, and with Kirk running down in 10th, it would have to be an almighty series of unfortunate events for Wineland to be able to drop behind him, and plus he's got some pretty good stage points here tonight as well, so I think Wineland is content with the spot he's in right now. Not really going to give these drivers right in front too much hell, but these three certainly going to give each other hell. They combine at the moment for 11 wins this season. Benefield at 3, McWhorter at 1 at Pocono, and Hicksonball, the winner of the last 2.5 mile track 1 week ago at Indianapolis. We have got 3 of the best running in the top 3 positions. There's some tension going on with those racers as well, and this is going to be a bare knuckle fist fight right to the end.
When you're the top 3 almost every week, you're going to be around each other a lot. That might give you, it might make you cranky with each other. Like Ron was saying, there is some tensions between some drivers here and there, but so far so good here tonight. As we saw Hicksonball there trying to drive it once again to the inside of McWhorter for second. McWhorter, excuse me. As we're winding these laps down really fast here towards the end of this race. 11.5 to go.
And here we go. There's a dive from Hicksonball into turn number 3 and 4. Holding on to that high side still is McWhorter, and he's got to blow his doors off. We had our way back onto that start-finish straight away. Benefield, I think the fate of his race is pretty much solely in his hands. If he can hold on to that spot, keep hitting his marks, he's going to be good. McWhorter and Hicksonball, they've been caught up in battling themselves too much, and I think it will be exactly what gives this race win to Benefield. He can just hang on for the next 10 laps here this evening. McWhorter still doing everything he needs to hold on to P2. Hicksonball, though, I gotta say, well-composed drive from the number 63. Earlier on this race, we thought his car was being powered by milk, and while I still think it's a little bit iffy compared to some of the rocket ships he's been in up to this point in the championship, I still think it is a very commendable drive for him to work on his stuff and still be up towards the front with now a single-digit amount of laps left to go. 9 to go at the line for Benefield, holding on to a 3.5 of a second lead.
Back to the inside, even there. Can Hicksonball sit there and hold it? Oh man, he's so close. He just like almost chips away just a little bit. Every single lap. Hicksonball trying so hard to get the power down and exit. You can see his car just, the right rear comes out just a little bit every single time. He's doing a great job in entry. Just can't get center out right now.
Ooh, as here we go, side by side. This is the best effort we've seen from Hicksonball to get past the number 73 car in about 15,000 years. Will it work out for him? They're still side by side through the turn. The 63 of Hicksonball looking to clear him. Will he be able to get done? The 73 just with enough momentum to keep him honest as they head their way down into 1 and 2 for one of the last times in this race. If Hicksonball can clear the 73, I think the fight will very much so be on. Will Benefield be able to shake off these two? Will they be able to shake off one another? If they continue to fight like this, we will see Benefield just drive off into the sunset. Now 6 laps left to go here at Iowa. Some lap traffic a little bit farther up the road. That right there is your P17 runner of Cameron Stone running up there in front of these 3. Not really sure how much of a factor that may play in all of this for Benefield. If it works out well, he's going to be smelling like a bed of roses. If not, he'll smell like a big bucket of horse manure.
Coming out of turn 4, this is going to be 5 laps to go for Adam Benefield. Can he hold off the Hicksonball machine? Just a couple thousandths of a second slower this last lap there for Hicksonball, so not gaining too much since he's cleared that 73. But he's definitely there to put the pressure on. This is the closest we've had the battle for lead in a while.
Yeah, this is intense at the front of all this. Hicksonball, he had to wait for so long to finally mount a successful challenge on the number 73 of McWhorter. Will he be able to do it now? I'm not too sure. 4 laps left to go here at Iowa. Less than 2 miles to go for Adam Benefield to seal the deal on victory number 4 and continue on that streak that he's been in here in 2025 of winning on some very odd racetracks. And the 3 wins that he's gone up to this point here here in the championship. They've come at Martinsville, a short track, Darlington, a historic track that's really like no other, and Dover, another kind of short track that's like no other. If he's good on the short tracks, Adam Benefield may be the force to be reckoned with come time for the season finale at Phoenix in a couple of months' time. For now, though, he's not focused on championship. He is focused on backing that number 83 car into victory lane yet again this season. It's been a well-composed drive for him, and he now has 2 more laps to try and seal the deal.
Benefield begins to pull away. You look over here, Eric Wineland right there in 4th. Hopefully trying to grab one more spot as we're coming to the white flag.
The white flag going to be in the air. Yeah, one more lap of racing action for Adam Benefield, and he starts that white flag now. The next lap going to end this race yellow or checkered. And for Adam Benefield, he has had to put on a very well-composed drive, battling the heat, battling the competitors, dealing with lap traffic pretty much every single lap all throughout this race. Adam Benefield won in stage 1 in comfortable fashion. He won in stage 2 in rather comfortable fashion, and he's going to win it here overall at the end of 250 laps in comfortable fashion as well. There's win number 4 this season of Benefield. He grabs it here at Iowa. It's going to be Bryson Ixenball finishing right behind the P2. Joseph McWhorter and Eric Wineland gave us a good battle to talk about at the end of it. Good day for McWhorter and very good day for Eric Wineland, who rounds at the top 4. Fantastic point save for him. Eddie Rose going to be finishing right behind in P5, but for Adam Benefield, it is a brilliant win. Win number 4 of this championship. He's now gone on the record with 2 straight short track wins, 1 at Dover, wins here at Iowa. Clearly, those bumpy tracks seem to be his bread and butter. As he burns it down right now, Adam Benefield going to be very happy about this victory. Put on a very hard charge, put on a very hardly driven race. That was fantastic stuff from him, from the drop of the green all the way through to the fall of the checkered. Gonna get those results loaded up for you here in just a couple of moments time, and let you know that at the end of it all, after 250 laps, Adam Benefield seals the deal for his 4th win of the championship at Iowa. He wins over Bryson Ixenball in P2, 0.6 of a second at the end between those two. Joseph McWhorter going to round out your podium in 3rd. It'll be Eric Wineland finishing in 4th, Eddie Rose in 5th, Hunter Truel in 6th, Jim Shoefield classed in P7 at the end of this, Mason Lowry in 8th, Cody Bird rounds at your top 9 with Michael Pratchik rounding at your top 10. Jeremy, I'll let you go through the rest of the results.
Absolutely, just outside the top 10 right there on that playoff bubble was Kirk Mills. 12th goes to Brayton Round. 13th, Tanner Marty. 14th goes to Kyle Amon. 15th, Noah Woods. 16th, Matthew Boston Wheeler. 17th goes to Cameron Stone. 18th goes to Tim Phillips. 19th, goes to Cody Goza. 20th goes to Daniel Llewellyn. 21st, Rory Collins. 22nd is Steve Benjamin. 23rd, Michael Dietrich. 24th goes to Ken Ron. 25th goes to Austin Evie. 26th goes to Connor Cunningham. 27th, Charles Velasquez. 28th, Nate Pollard. 29th, Nolan Hodgson. 30th goes to Raymond Root. 31st, Edward Scherer Jr. 32nd goes to Charles Eaton. 33rd goes to Nick Stein. And 34th goes to Brandon Hastings.
And Jason S. Taylor right there at the back was race control here for this event, so you can discredit him at the end of those results. But that's how it shakes out here at the end of this race. Round number 22, race number 22 of this season. At the end of it all, Adam Benefield is going to walk away with the race win. We're going to do these interviews in somewhat reverse order here. We're going to get things up and rolling by dragging in our P3 finisher at the end of this race, Joseph McWhorter. I want to have a chat with our first podium finisher here at the end of this race. Joseph, welcome into the broadcast booth. Well done on the P3. Happy to talk us through this race here at Iowa tonight.
Yeah, it was a good night. Car was fast. The driver wasn't. I just couldn't figure it out with this new new version of Iowa. I know all the guys at Outlier have been really, really fast and all the official stuff, so I was kind of hoping that that would kind of transfer over, but I just couldn't really figure out the car myself. So, um, sucks that we lost position there on that restart. We pretty much had second locked up going into that last few laps if it wasn't for that yellow. So my car just, I was firing off too tight and it was loosening up as the run went on. It just felt like I got better and better as the run went on. Not anything compared to the 83, but yeah, it was good, good, hot, fun race.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the track conditions here. We were joking right at the drop of the green flag that he could probably fry an egg on the blacktop heading off into 1 and 2. So I want to ask you how hard it was dealing with a track that's usually pretty hard on the tires, doubly so with hot track conditions through a race as long as this.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes the race really slick, makes it hard to try and enter the corner because you're always worried about the nose kind of slipping and sliding up the racetrack. So, um, I think that was one of the biggest things. Another thing that you really had to, one thing you had to really worry about tonight on top of the heat was also the bumps going into one before you get to the new asphalt was just really rough, and I couldn't really run the bumps like Bryson and Adam could. So that was another thing that I was really struggling with, and I don't know if that was me or if it was just the car or how I was doing something. I'm not 100% sure. That's something I got to talk to the guys about, but we kind of made some work there on the top side and just was rolling that top seam of the black, that fresh asphalt, and could play defense really well. Seemed like it was pretty much only 2 grooves. The high side's completely gone here, which really is a bummer because I really like ripping the wall and here. So yeah, just ready for next week, I guess.
And speaking of next week, we're going to be running at Watkins Glen back on the road courses for what feels like the 15,000th time in the past couple of weeks. But that's going to be another good one. Kind of similar to this track in a certain extent, whereby it is very bumpy. So what are your thoughts heading to there in 1 week's time?
Watkins Glen is probably one of my best road courses, so I'm feeling pretty confident going into it. I think we've made some gains on our road course cars, on our setups so far, because some of the stuff that we've been struggling with this season, or at least me with our equipment right now, has just been the nose being too tight, and that's something that we've been working on a lot. So I think interested to get to work with the guys over the weekend and see how we build for next Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you back out there on the racetrack at Watkins Glen in just 1 week's time, Joseph. Well, I'd let you give any thanks or shout-outs before we let you go.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Red Camera Racing. Go check them out at redcameraracing.com. Fire suits, shoes, helmets, anything you need for a race weekend, they've got it. So go check them out at redcameraracing.com. Go check out Outlier Speed Co. Really fast setups. You get to see them on the side of the car every week. Johnny and the boys have been building some really good race cars, so go check them out at outlierspeedco.com. I'm not 100% sure, but I think our 15% off code might still be working. I can't really double check at the moment, but if it is OSCNEW15 at checkout for 15% off. 29 graphics. Hopefully we'll have a painted up car here before too awful long from them. Just go check them out on Trading Paints, 29 graphics. You guys for putting on the broadcast, and all the drivers for a really great race, and ready to get into next week.
Yeah, thank you as well for joining us here on the commentary booth, Joseph. Well done, the P3, and looking forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack at Watkins Glen in 1 week's time.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you guys next week.
Yep, take care, man. That right there was your P3 finisher of Joseph McWhorter. I may be a little bit biased. I like the purple in that car, and I'm definitely biased because I used to drive on Hoosiers back in my karting days. But Jeremy, I will let you have a chat with our our P2 finisher at the end of this race, the number 63 of Bryson Nixonball.
Yes, we are standing, or we have now in the booth with us is Bryson Hicksonbaugh coming home in second place. Man, you were battling inside that number 73 machine. It felt like for probably half the lap. I'm sure you're going to have nightmares of your spotter saying outside. What more did you need to get to Adam Benefield?
Yeah, I needed a little bit more. I needed to be by him before that caution came out, or to be able to clear him on the restart immediately once we got back green. I knew I felt like I had a little bit better car than him for most of the race, but it's so hard to pass on the bottom. I did everything I could to try and get the run. Like I knew if I could at least stay side by side going into one, I could probably throw a slide job because I could drive it in so much deeper into one than him. But his run out of 4 was something else tonight. I couldn't get the run to stay anywhere near him. He did a great job, but eventually on the fresh tires, I could send it just a little bit deeper. I was drifting it into the corner a couple of those laps and was able to get to him with Adam out in front of us, giving him a little bit of dirty air, trying to keep us side by side, I think. But it got me clear, and we came home second.
It was my first time up here in the broadcast booth, and I can say I saw a lot of great patience by you tonight. You know, there was a few times where, like you said, you were getting sideways, trying to drive it in there really hard, but you did a great job of keeping the car under control and not ruining anybody else's night. And that was really impressive to see. You started second, you finished second. Who do you got to thank for getting you here tonight?
Yeah, thank the guys at Team Conti Sim Performance. Nick Angie does a great job every week, racking up a lot of wins over here for the setup shop. We had a string of races where we couldn't get the win, but we're back at it now with, I think, 4 straight, or maybe 3 straight for TCSP. He does a great job, and I'm glad to be running the setups.
Well, great run tonight. I would assume we'll probably talk to you in the near future. We'll see you at Walkinston next week.
Hope to be talking to you there if I don't tear it up like I did at Sonoma.
Sounds good. Have a great night.
And that right there was the number 63 of Bryson Hixenball, your P2 finisher at the end of this race. And for one last interview here this evening on Maconi Entertainment, we have your race winner, Adam Benefield, joining us here in the broadcast booth. Adam, welcome in. Congratulations. Win number 4 for you here at Iowa. How about you talk us through that race?
I just basically woke up, I pissed excellence, and I come in here and I showed Bryson Hixenball who boss was.
I'll tell you what, man, that was a pretty convincing performance from you. 1 in the first stage, 1 in the second, and here in stage 3, it looked like you're in the cruise lane all throughout tonight. I want to ask you about how easy it was from your side of things, settling into a groove here at Iowa.
Well, when there's a saying that you can't teach talent. Luckily, I was born with it. No, I'm just kidding. The car was really good. Nick Ottinger did a unbelievable job with the car this week, and I've been so busy I didn't really even get a chance to run laps until literally tonight in the practice session before the race. So I didn't really know which one to go with. Buddy Eddie Rose, he kind of gave me a tip on which one to run. And he kind of guided me through the race with adjustments and everything. So really, Nick Ottinger and Eddie Rose is the one that kind of, the ones that won the race for me. I just held the steering wheel.
Yeah, I saw that number 46 of Eddie Rose looking very quick as well. It looked like that whole Team Conti stable was very quick here at Iowa. Had to have felt pretty good from a team perspective, putting in a good result like that.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows that, unlike other places, we everybody's on the same stuff. You have rumors and all that stuff, and people like to jaw real hard on out in public. But everybody, I think everybody in this field was on was on the same setup or the tighter version or the standard version of what I ran. So car was good. Nick's done an unbelievable job with these B car setups. It's fun to come out here and race. The competition is. So the Friday night league has grown and the competition's gotten stiff, and it's fun. Like you can't just come out here and I'm trying not to cuss so I don't get in trouble with Bobby because I know he's watching the broadcast. So you can't come out here and halfway try, and you got to come out here with your game, on point, and we were able to get it done,
It's a pretty good performance from you, and I will say, and this is honest, I have cursed a couple of times on one single broadcast it was, and interestingly enough, me being the person that I am, of course I cursed as I was trying to reference an old quip from Johnny Carson's Tonight Show, so that's a little fun fact for all of you here this evening. But Adam, I want to ask you about your thoughts heading into Watkins Glen in 1 week's time. Bit of a departure from this race, it must be said, back on the road courses, so what are your thoughts heading there?
I don't know what the hell to do. Dude, I'm an oval racer. I don't know that turning right. The only time I turned right is when I raced dirt cars growing up. Don't expect. I mean, we'll probably hover somewhere top 10, I'll say, but Dyson will probably show up and run the tables on us or something. Yeah, I think it would be a good fishing pond if you could fill that place up with water. Probably get some pretty good bass out of there or something. I don't know.
I think I remember that comment from Kyle Petty many moons ago talking about Darlington. Interestingly enough, a track that you won at a little bit earlier on this season. But I think we'll let you give thanks and shout-outs before we let you go, Adam.
Yeah, just everybody at Team Conti, Sim Performance for all the hard work week in and week out. You guys for broadcasting. Thank you. Thank y'all. This is me clapping for y'all because we did not focus on Bryson as much as we have in the past. So thank y'all. Finally had to prove that the kid's not that good. Thank you. Thank you. Finally showed who boss was. No, this was a great broadcast. Bobby and Bryson for everything they do for this league. I give Bryson a lot of crap. That's kind of me and him, what we've done. We poke at one another. So, they brought this league back to life, and I can't thank them enough for it. It's finally something to look forward to every week on here.
I'll tell you what, Adam, and this is honest, the main reason I didn't sing the praises of Hicksonball too much during this broadcast is just because he burned it out on the bricks last time out at Indy. I may be a little bit biased as an IndyCar guy, but whenever I see someone do that, I get the same feeling that I would if I got tased. So that could be part of the reason why that was the case. But Adam, fantastic drive for me here this evening, and looking forward to seeing you out there on the racetrack, completing out the regular season here over the next couple of weeks.
Appreciate it, man.
And that right there was your P1 finisher, your race winner for the fourth time this season, Adam Benefield, joining us here in the broadcast booth. Looks like that's just about all we have time for when it comes to interviews. Jeremy, what a race here at Iowa. That had everything from strategy content to chaos, some drivers having blown motors, some drivers having blown transmissions. That race featured everything from brilliant racing to big crashes. That was just every single end of the spectrum being hit.
That's absolutely right, Ron. There was definitely some chaotic moments during the race tonight, but it was an exciting race to see. It was great to be a part of it. Hopefully be a part of more. This is definitely a good league. You can see all the drivers out there driving with respect, and that's one thing I like to always be a part of those groups, is just watching these drivers drive as real as possible and having a good time doing it. And can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, and really looking forward to that race at Watkins Glen in 1 week's time. Of course, you'll be able to tune into all of the action throughout this season here exclusively on Maconi Entertainment. Gives you a very good reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the racing, because we've got just about every single day here on Maconi Entertainment. Coming up tomorrow, you'll be able to see the full-length Cup Challenge running here at Iowa. That'll be a very fun race. Iowa will also be the site of the latest round of the Door-to-Door Sim Racing League. They'll be running here on Sunday night. On Monday afternoon at 3:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you'll be able to see Maconi Entertainment's coverage of the FF 1600 official Strength of Field race. That'll be at Long Beach, so that'll be a very fun race to look forward to. And the Racers Elite Truck League is going to be running at Talladega this upcoming Tuesday, so a lot of action here on Maconi Entertainment. Gives you a very good reason to subscribe so you never miss out on any of it. But as for this broadcast here, for race number 22 of the Friday Night Lights Xfinity Series here at Iowa, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Mullins, Jeremy Briggs joining me in the commentary booth, and Howie Burrows doing a wonderful job working on the cameras and the graphics in the virtual production hauler, I say thank you all so very much for tuning into this broadcast here on Maconi Entertainment tonight, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too distant